Prime Podcast Season 2, Episode 30. And today we have a special episode for you. It's been at least a couple months in the making, since Tears of the Kingdom came out. But you could argue, I guess it's sort of been in the making since E3 2019. They announced the damn thing. But hi, everyone. We are here to do our special Tears of the Kingdom spoiler cast. Only really going to say this once. I don't know how you don't understand what a spoiler cast is, but it's spoil time. So you don't want spoilers? Bye-bye. Like there's always one. There's one in every crowd. All right. So
all the spoilers.
So you see, we got a pretty big crew tonight. We got 7 people. It's going to be awesome. And we have a lot to get to. So let's just get through the very beginning of the cast because we start every podcast. We're talking about what we've been playing lately, and we're going to go around the room. I'm going to introduce each guest, and they can just tell me what they've been playing lately. Just get it both at once. Let's start at the top with FVLAM.
Hi, everybody. My name is FVLAM. If you don't already know me, I've been here a couple times now. But if you don't know me, I'm a variety streamer, Nintendo, so more Twitch than YouTube. And I've been playing a lot of Pikmin recently and love some Pikmin 4, man. Pikmin 4 is fantastic. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was excited for it to come out, and I was already in love with the Pikmin 3 game. And I think they found the perfect balance of all the different Pikmin games now at this point. I think it's literally peaked. So anyways, that's what I've been up to.
Nice. Cap Bergerson's back. How's it going, bud? What have you been playing lately?
Oh, always good. I've also actually been playing Pikmin 4, so I've been juggling that and Tears of the Kingdom because Pikmin is my jam. It is good. But yeah, man, I also do the Nintendo. I also mostly do the Zelda videos. So I mean, you're in the right place if you're into Zelda. Just putting that out there.
What we have people who make Zelda content on the show?
I know.
No.
What a fitting.
It's crazy. Crew. It's almost like it's its own game or something.
I would never.
Oh, you like video games here? What? That's crazy.
Yeah. What is up with that?
You guys play games? What?
Oh my gosh.
What's a video?
What's a video? Then we got Nick with no K back again. Had to be here for this one though.
Of course I did.
This was a requirement.
I'm trying to think what I've been playing. I fought the Thunder Gleeok today.
Nice.
I fought all 3 of them now, and I would definitely say the Thunder Gleeok is the hardest because you can't use any of your metal weapons. So I had to get a lot more creative.
Yeah.
So I've just been playing Tears of the Kingdom in whatever free time that I have.
What about the 4th type?
Yeah, the
the 4th type. That one's pretty easy because it doesn't give you any of the elemental effects. You don't have to put on hot clothes, you don't have to put on cold clothes, and you can still use your metal weapons. So it's kind of it's harder, but not really.
It's all about the timing, because that final phase, it's harder to get up into the air to strike.
Because it's doing all 3 types of things that you at once.
What you just do is rocket shield up, Zonite bow, headshot. He goes down. That's all.
I'm a pro over here. You kidding me? That last phase is hard, and you just don't even know.
Yeah, just gotta skip the last phase.
Just skip it. Yeah, just tell him no. Actually,
they cannot legally hurt you if you say no.
Yeah, that's what happened when the first time I fought a Fire Gleeok. I was the one on the Hyrule Bridge, and I didn't even let it get to the last phase. And I'm like,
that's how you do it.
People told me this was a hard one.
I love those videos of people building giant contraptions, flipping it, they build a giant spatula and just flips it and flings it into the water. That's
can't get out. Yeah, it's epic.
That's great.
So, is that what you've been playing lately, then, Nick?
Yeah.
TOTK. Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Wow, what a surprise! People still playing Zelda. Who knew?
Not bad for a little DLC.
Yeah. I had someone on Twitter, or maybe it wasn't Twitter. I think it was on a comment on one of my YouTube shorts say Tears of the Kingdom is just $70 upscale or something. And I was like, that the only people who still make that argument are the ones who haven't actually played the game. Because I don't know how someone can play the game and say, yeah, this is just $70 DLC. Yeah. It's not. It's very clearly
a DLC game they've been getting in their other games.
Yes.
Really.
Well, I was at the comment today that I just chucked up on Twitter. I'm like, man, someone actually just said Tears of the Kingdom looks like a PlayStation 2 game. I love it.
Bates used to be believable.
They're not being creative anymore.
I know, right? These are Dude, I've been hearing the PS2 comparisons of Switch games since like day one, and it wasn't true then, and it's still ain't true now.
Mhm.
That's all right.
I think there are just many times that you just have to
They gotta
ignore
circle the drain.
the comments. There's just a lot of nonsense out there.
Only the dumb ones, which is a
Mhm.
lot of
I
them.
just have fun with it now. It's just fun. None
You
doesn't
keep
even upset
the
me.
dumb ones as like a pet, you know. Like you kind of it's like you
Look,
set the
if feeling
fire
a
on
little
that
down, just
stupid
let one of the dumb ones out quick.
Yeah.
Bring me back up. Of course, we got HMK on the show. Had to have him here for this. This was just
Oh, no, I had
the
to
moment
wear
I
the shirt
mentioned it.
and
You were like,
everything. I'm
yeah, "Of course I'm gonna be." Because I asked him like 2
Yes.
weeks ago, and he's like, "No, I'm being there." Like that's not even a question.
Yeah, because I get so busy sometimes when you ask me. I'm like, oh, I want to be there, but I can't. But I'm here now. Tears of the Kingdom spoiler cast, and what games I've been playing? Tears of the Kingdom. Still, you know, I've been playing a lot of Tears of the Kingdom, trying to like 100% it and everything. But also, I've just recently beat Final Fantasy 16 action focus mode, so now I'm playing Final Fantasy mode, and I've been playing Hi-Fi Rush, and that game is honestly really
good
really
game.
good.
It's a
It is
good
super
I've heard.
good. Like it's like those 3 games right now: Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy 16, and Hi-Fi Rush are like the top 3 game of the year contenders for me. That's like it's crazy. But Tears of the Kingdom's gonna win. It's gonna win.
Is Hi-Fi this? Wait, did that come out this year? Like a sequel to
Yeah.
it come out this year? Oh, okay.
No, Hi-Fi Rush came out this year, January. Like it was shadow dropped.
Oh, okay.
like
Yeah,
the
Shadow
first
dropped on Xbox. Yeah,
day.
Cool, nice.
great
Nice.
game. Great. I actually think it was good they Shadow dropped it because I think if they didn't, it would have been one of those games that people might have ignored. But
Right.
because the Shadow dropped at the same time, it literally had instant praise from everyone playing it. It's like, oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, new IP makes sense because you want to inspire intrigue and giving it a try.
Yeah.
Now, Joycey J, how
Hi
you doing?
guys, I'm doing good. How are
What
you?
you been playing?
I actually finished Tears of the Kingdom last week. Clocked in 530 hours.
Nice.
Yes, I did.
There we
I did
go.
not leave the house from May 12th to whatever last Monday.
That's why we
was.
got our celebration drinks.
We have our celebration drinks. I'm only here for the margaritas, of course. So I've honestly, just like I do after every really big Zelda game, I kind of just sit there with my feelings, if you will.
Same.
The postmortem.
Every single Zelda game puts me in my feelings for one reason or another, and then it kind of almost like, you know, I should probably like go outside, call my mom back, cook, because there's been a lot of takeout, read a book, and then I've been playing a little bit of Splatoon. That's my go-to game because it's the never-ending game. But we are going to be diving back into some Bayonetta and some Octopath in the coming weeks. But right now, I'm just kind of like, I just want to kind of crystallize the
Right.
Zelda feelings and the fact that we're not going to probably get one until Zelda, 2030, as Nate and I always chat about.
DLC.
Still on new
We
game?
will
See, that-
debate that later, HMK.
Yes.
It's gonna be good, I believe.
Okay. Just restart. How's it going, bud? What have you been playing?
Good. Getting mad at getting sabotage, playing golf and Switch Sports with my brother and dad. I mentioned it to them. I was trying to explain why I was late. And basically, I went to play golf with them 18 holes in Switch Sports, and
Takes a while.
there was a tree right above me, and I was like, all right, I'm doing good. I just got to get to the flag. I just don't even have to get a hole immediately. Just, get close. And my brother's like, oh, yeah, you could just hit it right there. Like, sure, right under the tree. I don't think so. Oh, no, you're good. I'm like, okay. I took his word for it.
Remember, you took the word of someone you're competing against, Right?
Yeah. The thing is, he didn't mean to screw me over, but he screwed me over.
He just thought it would work. It's one of those, I take that shot.
And then, it bonked the top of the tree, fell into the water, and it put me into a position where I couldn't just get to the flag anymore. So I lost 3 strokes. And in golf, that's suicide.
Especially video game golf when everyone's pretty even.
Yeah, it was over. Yeah.
Triple bogey, +4, +5.
Yeah, it hurt me hard badly. But beyond that, I've been playing Pikmin 4, and that's a real treat. HMK, you brought up some pretty high quality game of the year candidates. I think Pikmin 4 maybe should be in that conversation too.
I would love to see in the conversation.
I would agree.
But the thing is, we have Spider-Man 2, and we have Armored Core 6 still coming out, and I'm like,
And Starfield might not be a dumpster fire. So
The 2023 is the year for gamers.
Yeah,
Like
Bethesda's
last year was
got
like a
couple
drought
games
minus
hitting the
Elden Ring.
90s. A couple.
Yeah.
Couple. I don't know if this is gonna be it, but
Pikmin 4 will be in the if there's like a not Game Awards, but if we're just doing like a top 5 Nintendo games of the year, like Pikmin.
oh, easily, yeah.
No.
Mhm.
dude,
Yeah.
Nintendo
Probably
better be
true.
up for Publisher of the Year this year.
Yeah, really.
Mhm.
Like holy crud, because we had Fire Emblem and then
Prime
obviously
Remastered.
Prime
Yeah.
Remaster.
Prime Remaster, Zelda,
Pikmin 4,
Pikmin.
Mario
You're gonna have
Wonder.
Mario Wonder and Mario RPG coming back out.
Oh, yeah, Mario RPG.
We're eating
And
good
like-
stuff
they're,
here.
they're throwing more Luigi's Mansion. We don't know when the Peach game's coming, but
Well,
Yeah,
those are
they're
next
coming
year.
out.
2024.
Yeah.
they're
they
definitely
said 20, they said
24.
2024.
But Prime 2 Remastered is rumored for this year, right? If they
Yeah,
shadow
and-
drop like Prime 1.
Imagine, and I could even see them drop like shadow dropping or like doing kind of what they did with Prime, where they drop like a
Point is, that's a
one
lot
the
of
Zelda
games for one publisher that are rated very high.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If Prime 2 Remastered does not have online multiplayer, in the trash.
Oh, there it is. I knew
That's a
someone
hot
was gonna
take.
go there. It's garbage without it.
This is a Zelda cast, so I don't know how much more dive into.
I love
want it
Metro
as
Prime
well.
2, but I just let please. I don't. It's probably not going to be online. I would love for it to be online. I'm one of
Here's the way
few
I
people
look
that
at
love
it.
multiplayer,
They
but-
make everything on NSO have online. No excuse. No excuse. They
Yeah.
literally all multiplayer on NSO games is online. So like no excuse.
Yeah, but there's so many co-op Nintendo games that don't have it. But anyway, I'll
Yeah.
just 20 seconds. 20 seconds. I think Prime Remaster 2. I mean, from what's been maybe suggested, obviously a lot of room for interpretation, but it seems like Prime 2 Remaster is gonna have more work done than a straight up upscale, but less than Prime 1.
Right.
So if they want to price it the same, then they better do something. I think online multiplayer would be the ticket to make it be at the same value.
That was 24 seconds, not
Yeah, I was
20.
gonna say you technically went over 20. He was counting that.
It's rounding.
He's rounding. He's
If you
rounding
round-
down.
if you round down, yeah, it's
Round down by
rounds.
tens.
Yeah.
Round it just- for 24 rounds to 20, not 30. So
Exactly.
There you go. So yeah, I've just been playing Pikmin 4 this entire last week. It's been a blast. I've been having a lot of fun with
Good
it.
one.
And I just can't wait to play more. I should say I did dabble a little bit more in Tears of the Kingdom. But as I told people, I'm gonna keep playing that for years at this point.
Oh, yeah.
I think the next time I put serious time in will be if DLC is announced. Then I'll be like, oh man, there's a whole bunch of side quests. There's a whole bunch of side quests and other things
Yeah,
I want to
when,
plow
right.
through before DLC lands. But we will get into that later because, of course, it's a spoiler cast. So our first topic has to be about maybe the most I don't know, disagreed thing that I hear
let's go.
in a lot of
let's just
in a
dive
lot of
straight
Snape
into
circles.
kills
the lava.
Dumbledore.
Let's do it. No, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's
Snape
do it.
kills
I
Dumbledore.
came to the debate.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Here we go,
Ganondorf
here we
dies
go.
in the end.
Oh no!
Okay.
No.
But can we talk about the Ganondorf nuke?
Oh
When
my
they
god,
died,
bro!
Like that
so
was just a nuclear explosion.
That,
It
like,
literally
so
just
cool.
nuked him.
And I thought
I-
it was a blood moon. And I was like, no, I don't think that's a blood moon.
so I thought it was gonna explode the same way as like the blights will explode, or the bad guy, not the bad guys, but the
Yeah.
boss will explode in Tears of the Kingdom. But like I was like, okay, maybe he'll just like fade away or whatever. It's like just no badoom, and I'm like, oh my god, like
It definitely
Total
felt very
pretty sure
like,
he's dead. Like that's
period. That's
Yeah,
it.
but this seems pretty definitive that he's.
He's
Gone.
done.
This is like the most definitive I think in any Zelda game. I mean, we've jabbed him in the head. We stuck it through the heart. We've seen Ganon explode in old games. No, this is eradication
There's nothing
of existence.
Left. Nothing
Like
left.
not even like a floating soul. So no, you're done.
nah, he'll
This-
be back though. He'll be back.
This incarnation.
Yeah,
is
he
dead.
they'll find a
He'll
way.
always come back.
They'll find
This
a way.
incarnation is dead.
Yes.
correct.
As HMK always says, he's just too angry to die.
Yep. Too angry to die.
Unless he doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Then he's
But then where does
longer
that
to stay
hatred
dead.
go? But where does that hatred go?
It went
Its
poof.
demise
It
is
went,
cursed.
it went poof.
Gone.
Now we're
Well,
getting all new
okay.
enemies.
Well, so
all
yeah,
new.
that
That'd be
I
sweet,
agree
actually.
with. That
I would like that.
I mean, if you play Skyward Sword, you just read the text. He says for eternity. So
Yeah.
you know, That Skyward Sword just explained why there's always going to be another Zelda game.
Here's the thing. So Ganondorf has been eradicated so utterly that Link and Zelda of Tears of the Kingdom and their time frame, they just don't have to deal with that problem no more. It's going to be the next generation, the generation after that, or the 5th generation, 5 generations more. Like, they deal with it now.
Yeah,
they're fine. They're chilling.
We wait to the next calamity. That's about what, 10,000 years.
Well, there won't be a calamity.
We got time.
It won't be a calamity. It'll be something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's heavily implied that the calamity is it only exists in that form because it's a byproduct of what was leaking out of Ganondorf being sealed by Rauru. So like,
good point.
Yeah, so since that's all gone, if Ganon or Ganondorf were to come back, it'll be in a new form. It won't be like the calamity no more.
But then I question what's that. Then I question all that stuff that happened in Skyward Sword. But
I got a big ass theory, but I mean, I'm gonna wait.
This gets into the conversation because there are people that feel like Tears of the Kingdom has either retconned or rebooted the series. I'm one of those people. And then there's also people that obviously can argue against some of that stuff and try to connect it and deal with all the conflicts. Andres Restart's one of those people that I know for sure. Still haven't finished watching your video on it because I wanted to hear your points live because I figured a bunch of them might come up here.
Sure.
But so whoever wants to go, like, I don't know what side of the fence people are on.
I want to say one thing first. Just one thing first, right?
Sure.
I think that when it comes to like Zelda theories, and you can feel free to disagree with me on this part. I think all of you are going to agree with me on this. The way they make the games, I don't think they totally obviously gameplay first, right?
Like,
but I do think that the way they put the details in, even if it is maybe an afterthought to some extent, I think the way it's designed, they do intentionally leave things for debate.
Absolutely.
100%.
So in other words, there isn't actually a right answer. The right answer is just us just coming up with theories and we figure it out
until the book comes out. That
yeah, that's right.
and then even in the book they'll be like, when new things come, it changes the fabric of time. And
I feel there's right to both sides of what Andres just said, where like it is an afterthought and they do leave it up for debate. They do that on purpose. They said on record that they like it when people theorize and talk about the games. And from
people keep our games being talked about while we're not releasing them.
You know, and people like
almost like it's a good thing.
I had these comments saying that like, I don't know why people are trying to piece it together, man. Like, it's such a waste of time. It makes sense from both a creative and a business sense, where it's like, creatively, like, people love creatives, and then like the creators love seeing people debate. The people up in business Nintendo is like, hey, if they keep talking about the game, people are going to keep buying it that haven't heard of the game or haven't played the game, right? So it makes sense. But I do believe that it's an afterthought in the sense like, let's leave it up for debate. But in the sense like, there is no right answer. I think there is. They know, but they intentionally hold it back until they're ready to give it out. And then that's where I stand on the fence.
I agree with that as well. But and Nate, I think one of y'all, I made a comment on one of y'all's videos. I don't know. I follow so many Zelda Nintendo people. My thing is, I think now, and I kind of personally had to accept this for myself because I like the idea of it being a big story and then there are just certain things that we don't know. But I think what the truth is that Skyward Sword is the beginning of all the timelines, no matter how many there truly are. And then the rest are legends. And with Breath of the Wild, I agree with Nate, and Nate and I have talked about this, that it is kind of a soft reboot. And I'm almost inclined to believe, now this is more speculative and this is more of my theory, that Breath of the Wild is a soft reboot, but all the classic games, all the Termina, Coolant, all those games, they happen, but they're kind of legendary because we don't really know. Kind of like things in history. But so now we have Link. Details are blurred. It could have happened this way, but now we have Link. We can't rename him. We can't, he's an actual character now. He's a living, breathing character.
Like
living,
or whatever.
breathing character.
There's a difference between legend and fiction, though.
There you go.
It is that doesn't something being a legend doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
I don't think they're legends. I think they're legends. Like it could have happened this way. This is what we think happened. And now Link,
their interpretation of events that did happen. That's what makes that's what makes history legend. An interpretation of the events that are like, it's so far gone. Like it could have happened this way or that happened, but it's like the imprisonment war happened.
At the current time, you don't know
Yeah,
the exact, like there's just not enough to know exactly in the current
exactly. That's
time.
what separates history from
It's like
legend.
it's like dinosaurs. We know they existed, but like there's so much. We
And
don't
up
know.
until like in recent modern time, we thought they were lizards, but turns out they were birds. Like, you know, so
yeah,
You know, I always
You know,
thought that as
Jurassic
a
Park.
kid. It was kind of like I always like
Yeah.
would ask like teachers and parents like, hey, like how do we know that they looked like reptiles? Like how do we know they weren't just like giant fluffy creatures? And
Well,
then a
Steven
few years
Spielberg
later,
said
well,
They look like Pokemon.
Yeah, Jurassic
well,
Park. Come on.
it's a little bit of a mix.
like it's
Oh.
funny when I was a kid, I was like velociraptors, and I look at my teacher, I'm like, aren't raptors a type of bird? Like, why they call velociraptors?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, random thing. Apparently, aliens are real.
Oh yeah,
Apparently,
I mean,
yeah,
we,
that's
I mean, we
Twitter.
knew.
We knew, but like
Nobody's
but
non-
now it's
okay.
been
Wait, what is it real?
no,
they are.
it is real.
They were
they're doing a
non-human
whole thing
remains.
for it.
That's
Non-human
that's what
remains
he
and
used. That's the wording
unidentified
he
planets.
used.
Yeah, and then there are things he wants to talk about more, but he's got to wait for a closed trial because it can't go public.
I mean, maybe it was Russia.
and
just
apparently
putting
now they're
in
scheduling a
monkeys,
closed
but-
trial.
Yeah,
So-
my bet it was just some animals or something. Trust me, I want them to be real. That's just my theory. Anyways, that's not Zelda.
Yeah, I want to dial it back to Zelda because I want to get this off my chest before I I explode. So
Zelda's got aliens.
The glasses are coming
will.
on, y'all.
I
It
explode.
will explode too.
All right,
Throw it
so
out.
Just like
Um,
Lay it
Ganondorf.
on us.
I've had this theory for years, like years before Breath of the Wild ever came out, right? And then at first I was all like, okay, Breath of the Wild, I was always an advocate that it was going to be in the child timeline. Then Tears of the Kingdom came out. And then I'm like, okay, nah, this is going in line with the theory I had from years ago. And that theory was I originally titled it The Chosen Hero or like the timeline of peace, right? Whereas a fourth timeline that was created after Skyward Sword. And it was created during the climax where Link had to go defeat Demise again in the past, despite destroying him in the future with the Triforce, right? But Link's Master Sword, which still enabled the curse, Demise was sealed in there, and then he still died in both timelines. Since the Master Sword was able to retain its sense of self, and it's a constant within timelines or whatever may be fractured or whatnot. The events that happened in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom take place in that timeline that is completely separate from the unified timeline, which went down with Minish Cap, Four Swords, Ocarina of Time, and then the timeline split. And the reason why we see all of these events play out in Tears of the Kingdom and in Breath of the Wild, but in different ways, but with a sense of familiarity, despite some events being described to happen in the adult timeline or in the child timeline or in the downfall timeline. That would be impossible if this game were to take place at the end of any one of those timelines. The reason why they're all accounted for in Legend is because of the rule of destiny. That these events that all happened within the unified, the adult, the child, and the downfall timeline, all those Zelda games, they're all destined to happen in one way, shape, or form. And they did happen in this fourth timeline, leading into Breath of the Wild, leading into Tears of the Kingdom, but in different ways, and that's why they're accounted differently. And that is prevalent with the Imprisoning War, where the Imprisoning War was a war that happened in the footnotes of A Link to the Past. But now, in this timeline, it happened in a different way. And that's why King Rauru is still the Sage of Light, but in this timeline, he exists as a Zonai and the founder of Hyrule. And that's why Ganondorf existed way earlier than he should have in this timeline when compared to that of the unified timeline, because the first the first appearance chronically in the unified timeline for Ganondorf was Ocarina of Time. He was not recorded any time before that. And then if you see the scene of the Sign of Fealty, where Ganondorf is bowing before the king and then swearing his fealty to Hyrule, that is what happens in Ocarina of Time, but in this timeline it happens in that way.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we have Zelda becoming the Sage of Time, and then we have all the 6 sages coming back again, and that's basically the long and short of it. So when people say, oh, it's a reboot or a Dragon Break, it's yes and no, because in this timeline, everything happened that is supposed to happen in the other timeline, but in a different way that's all accounted for in one timeline, which I feel is a better way for Nintendo to tackle future games so they don't have to tiptoe around adult, downfall, or child. And, that's
I disagree.
So we're going with the
If I may.
multiverse theory, is what you're saying.
Huh?
No, I'm this serious question. You're going with like kind of like multiverse. Like, well if under these circumstances, the same thing happens, but it just happens in different ways.
Yeah. Well,
I call it the eventuality theory. Like I've always talked about.
Yeah, like that. Like
eventually, certain things are going to occur. Like regardless of which timeline you're in, there's going to be Rito.
Yeah.
Regardless of which timeline you're in, Lionels are going to come back from the mountains or something. Like these things are eventually going to happen. Maybe not exactly the same way.
Exactly.
So I do agree with that part at least. I do like your theory. I haven't actually considered that, so that's kind of a question about that. I know everyone wants to talk, but because something I'm kind of like misremembering, or just I need to kind of like go back and check, because Skyward Sword is where the Master Sword is created, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I guess what I'm trying to ask is, like, there's a couple games that happen between Skyward Sword and Ocarina Time in the timeline. I think Minish Cap is one of them.
Minish Cap and Four Swords.
Is so the Four Sword isn't this? Does the Four Sword eventually become the Master Sword, or is it a separate sword?
No, separate sword.
Separate sword.
Minish Cap details the creation of the Four Sword.
Yeah,
so it is fully separate. And then the Four Sword appears again after Twilight Princess officially, which obviously we know the Master Sword wasn't. So they're two separate blades entirly.
That's what I was vaguely remembering. That's what I want a clarification on. So there isn't anything we've seen that shows a second Master Sword being created.
No. Never.
Because if we did, I think I would like fully believe your theory, because so I guess it's your idea that Fi was left behind in the past, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
So Fi that's why I said the Master Sword is a constant within everything. It is something that transcends like space and time, and we've seen that throughout all the different timelines after they break. And then there's one thing I forgot to mention. This is exactly why in this timeline with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, why he's not remembered to wear green, why Link is not recorded in history when Mario says, "Oh, I've never heard of Link before," because his existence in that time was fleeting. He came back to the past to destroy Demise and dip. And that's why the sword was never called the Blade of Evil's Bane. It became the Sword that Seals the Darkness, because that is how the sword was remembered in that timeline. So that's like all the discrepancies, like, oh, like why they call the sword this? Why is it doing that? Why is it? It's because like time went down a different path, but having all that eventual matters like happen in one singular timeline.
So but it's still the same sword,
because at the end of Skyward Sword, here's what happens: you get the Triforce. It's debated about whether or not Link had the Triforce the whole time and it was within him. Monster Mace has a great video about that, by the way. Makes a great case. But regardless of the point, he has the Triforce at the end. He wishes on it. Isle of the Goddess with the goddess statue plummets to the earth after that wish. Demise is eradicated in the present. Girahim shows up, wrecks everyone's shit, says, well, Demise is dead now, but he wasn't dead before, so I will time travel to the past and resurrect him there. Okay. They all travel back in time. Link kills Demise again in the past. This should cause a paradox, because Demise is dead in the past. How did we just kill him in the future or the present day, right? However, when we go back to the future, we return to our original time. Impa always had the bracelet that Zelda gave her in the past. Zelda was always encased in amber in the past. The Master Sword is back there in the past, but the Isle of Goddess is also back down to the earth. So we return to the original timeline. There's no timeline split here. It is a convergence of events.
We didn't. You know why? Because Impa didn't see the attack of Girahim coming, because he was the folly in everything that happened, and he was destroyed in the past along with Demise.
she was also old. She didn't see any of the imprisoned attacks coming, even though young Impa was in the present and should have seen all of those.
Because she was in real time there. She didn't see the
so she was in real time when Girahim also showed up, right?
No, because like
how not?
Huh?
How not? Like I'm not following. So please explain.
Because if she had to remember that she had the bracelet in the first place, then that had to have happened, right? For it to make sure it's like, hey, see, I told you I was gonna see you again. But the only way she could remember that is if they had to go back to the past and change that, because she didn't remember that before, but she remembered that when she got back, right?
Or did she not remember, or did she just not say anything about it though?
Why would she not say anything about it though? Like she literally like waiting for Zelda to die, like not Zelda to die, for her to come back to die, because she knew that she was gonna come back.
Yeah, just one last goodbye. Because why not?
Nah,
no. I don't buy that we're trying to place a timeline split in an era that's literally called the unified timeline. That's
It-
like, and I know that's just a verbiage thing, and
That's
maybe I'm
that
taking
is
issue with it.
interesting, yeah.
But the ending of Skyward Sword hammers in constantly that it is not a split. Because if
But-
it were a split, when we came back, like none of the events would happen. Groose wouldn't be on the surface. Demise wouldn't have to have been sealed in the sealing grounds.
No,
Like,
because
none
it's
of that would have happened.
No, it's the same rulage as Ocarina of Time. Because if Link did all that and went back to the past, then the past would have been different, wouldn't he? But they still went and did a split, and it even had a what if split, like downfall adult and child.
I
So
also need to
it's-
remind everyone
Yeah.
that Nintendo introduced the idea that if Link dies, that can be a split. They literally introduced that in Ocarina of Time. Like, he
This is
failed.
true.
So
Yeah.
there's a split. So let's say he killed him in the present and then he went back in the past and he died. That would be another timeline that we don't experience.
I got a theory on that. I'm coming
Yep.
back in a second. Y'all had to handle.
I just
some
had to
things.
throw that out there.
Yeah.
Like, I understand there's this complex way to try to get a
So,
split. Also,
let me-
Nintendo made a really easy way to split any game.
Downfall
let me-
timeline was on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said it.
Something that I'm kind of thinking about, right? Like, what causes a timeline split? And when I think about Ocarina of Time, my understanding is what causes a split is the presence and or absence of Link.
Right.
So
Link going back
if-
to the
It is the Triforce. Link splits the Triforce, or the Triforce in Ocarina of Time when he goes back in time, because he brings the Triforce of Courage from the future back in time with him. And it's
when
shown on
Ganondorf
his
claims
hand.
when Ganondorf
in-
claims it, right?
And sorry,
That's when when Link
that's what.
pulls
Yeah,
the
that's when
Master
Ganondorf
Sword,
gets it.
and he gets access to the Sacred Realm because he goes in there with him and he obtains the Triforce of Power.
So at the end, well, yes, but when we have the end, like post-credit scene of Ocarina of Time, right? Link goes back from the Chamber of the Sword to meet Zelda. He brings the Triforce of Courage that he only unlocked within himself in the future back there with him. That's what causes the split in that timeline of the Triforce, because that moment happens before Ganondorf actually went into the Sacred Realm. So when he causes that split by bringing basically an extra piece of Triforce back in time with him, basically reality has to correct itself. So it just automatically gives people their own respective Triforce pieces, which is why in Twilight Princess's execution scene, Ganondorf didn't know he had the Triforce of Power. It just awakens within him suddenly, because when Link brought that piece back in time, the Triforce had no choice but to basically disperse among its like chosen wielders, as it were.
All right, so that explains the Triforce split. That's like the stain into the ground and everything. But like the whole idea of, because like what Joyce was saying earlier, like Zelda has always been multiverse. Like everyone's saying, oh, different timelines, this. But like in order for multiverse to happen in what we're dealing with time travel here, it's like Andre said, the absence or resurgence of Link. Because Link coming back from the adult timeline doesn't mean the adult timeline goes away. It goes on without him, right?
Mhm.
And then him coming back to the past and change the events to be using the Triforce of Courage as proof, as it was noted in the books. He's like, hey, why would the king and Zelda believe him? Because he was actually sent there before he met Zelda, right? And then he's like, why would you believe my story of like Ganondorf's attack? I have the Triforce. So like that's me telling you, and then that's how Ganondorf was subjugated, arrested, and then eventually executed. But it's not that he brought the Triforce with him. The Triforce was the proof of his story, right? But the Triforce itself is not what breaks the timeline, because the Triforce, as shown with that split, it's a constant. So like if any point that it's not complete, it has to be complete. If it's not complete, it has to find its way into other people. And when it is complete, then it's complete. It's that. But in the absence of Link either dying or just eliminating himself from the timeline completely, like he did when he going back into the past, that's what creates timeline splits. Not exactly, the Triforce going here, the Triforce going there.
All right. No, I'm willing to accept that.
I think the downfall timeline was done on purpose.
For sure.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
my theory.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think Link lost on purpose, and kind of going back to what Andres was saying, that's an eventuality that I think adult Link planned for. Like, well, what if I don't win? I can win. I always win because I'm Link. But what if I don't? Ooh, that margarita's kicking in. Yeah, we put that
I can't wait
glass
till it
down.
hits me because I'm gonna be like, oh shit.
Pick up the water. Okay. So, but because the thing about it is like, what if I don't win? What happens? And then we have, I know there's other things that happen in in between. But then there's Wind Waker, where we find the goddess will find a hero. So it's not from Link's bloodline. It's not necessarily from Link's. It's Link's, I guess, spirit line. What's the right term? Because if we don't have a biological link, because some links are related. I know people get mad at me when I say that, but some links are biologically related, and then there's some that are, it's just spirit of the hero. And y'all feel free to correct me, because y'all make videos on this. I just be playing shit.
Yeah, something that's interesting. I don't even know if there's debate about this. It's just kind of like thinking about like what qualifies as a spirit of the hero. Like, does the spirit of the hero mean that personality reincarnated in a different body, or does it just kind of mean like the mission of just a different?
The one who has the balls to do it. Seriously, because you tell me I got to go face the big, ugly, crazy pig man. Baby, I got shit to do. No,
but
I'm not going
basically what I'm asking is like, so like when like the hero of Winds is if he's not the same person as the hero of Time, like they are just two different people. Even if they were like in the same time, they would be two different people. They could be friends. They could have a dialogue. They just so happen to take on the same role for their respective times.
That yes and no, because it's never really like outwardly stated like the criteria of the spirit of the hero. Only that it's something that inhibits all Link, and that it's heavily implied that if links are blood related, then the spirit of the hero passes on to him, but then he's got to prove himself through trials and tribulations and whatnot. And when there isn't a blood relative available, then the spirit of the hero either is cultivated or reveals itself within that of a new hero. I.e. hero of Winds, the hero from A Link to the Past, moving forward and whatnot. But to what you're saying, like, if they were to be friends, I really doubt there could be like, two heroes in existence, because like the Master Sword Warriors, man, Hyrule Warriors, that game.
Okay, hold on. Correct me if I'm wrong though. Two heroes did kind of coexist.
Oh,
the heroes, the hero Shade or the old man from A Link Between Worlds.
Both.
Okay, so like it's heavily implied with the old man, right? It's never outright confirmed.
Heavily.
Ravio is like it's Ravio, not Link. Have you seen
Ravio was definitely not spirit of the hero. That he was a self-proclaimed, self-expressed coward. So
very, very.
Everybody in Low Rule has it's like their doppelganger. It's like their total, but they're total opposite.
Yeah,
right.
We also have Four swords, but I guess they're like more like clones, right?
They're clones.
Yeah, it's the sword splitting Link into four.
I love how we haven't even gotten to Tears of the Kingdom.
I know, right?
I don't think
we
we've even
get back to
spoiled
that.
anything. This is
I
just a
got
timeline
some
video
questions.
at this point.
We should go back to
follow
that.
all of you guys. So I got
for a spoiler cast.
Right? We went off the rails with like the timeline.
Right. It was bound to happen. It was bound to happen.
Can I please ask a question?
No, go for
it. I asked Nate this. I want y'all's, because y'all are even better than me with the lore. Why Link ain't got no shirt on at the end of Tears of the Kingdom? Please explain.
Oh, it's
because he's
not.
That's
no,
why.
they know. I know why. Because Nintendo knows. No, it's no. Nintendo knows that we're all weirdos. All right. So they're like, no, it's like we gotta keep the pants, but the top and wherever he's wearing on his head gotta go. Imagine playing out the cutscene where Link is saving Zelda and he's wearing the Yiga mask.
Nintendo legit.
Did the Rita arrive over there on?
I did like
my
a
circlet
speed
stayed
run
on.
of
I had
Breath of the Wild.
I had the diamond crown circlet thing.
My brother just brought me the margarita. This is your recipe, Joycey.
I once did a speed run of Breath of the Wild, like a straight to Ganon run, and I ended that run in just literally whatever clothes I could find, and I looked like they had the most ridiculous outfit. I had some skinny pants on, I had the phantom armor, like the bulky ass. So like I looked goofy as hell at the end of it. So yeah, I think HMK's point is
they're like no goofy.
Zelda's like
none.
Link, you're the hero of Hyrule, and it looks Link, and he's just like wearing this goofy ass outfit.
Right.
So yeah, like just gotta make Link look reasonable so we can see his face.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want the real reason, how else are they supposed to replace his arm if he's wearing a shirt?
Contact is
That's
also
true.
They gotta take his shirt off.
That's fair.
That's a good point.
So they can fix his arm. How that works, I don't know. I'm not gonna.
I don't know how they fit that more worse than how they fix the arm. It was
I got one.
So okay.
Oh wait.
I mean,
I have a possible explanation as well, in that his arm wasn't actually destroyed. Rauru is unreliable in the facts. He doesn't know what he's talking about half the time, but his arm was always there.
His arm was in there.
It was like
it mapped
underneath.
Oh, dude, I
over.
came down from the heavens
so
and
arm
founded
over top
Hyrule.
of arm.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, he also is like, well, Zelda, you came from a
He
future,
does have himbo energy
which
about him,
you
though,
were never
to
in
be
the
fair.
past. And then Ganondorf
Yeah.
absolutely recognized Zelda at the beginning of the game, so she
It's
always
a paradox.
was in the
Time
past.
travel is weird.
So, yeah,
Butcher,
Roru
Butcher.
doesn't
The
know he's not
Zonai
that.
in general are weird. Like, why are there these 3 Zonai, and where did the rest go? And
Okay,
why are
can we
only
talk
you
about
3 came down?
Speaking of weird tech and ancient stuff, where did all the not Zonai, excuse me, where did all the what was the last game? What was it called? The last game?
Sheikah.
Where all the
Ganon ate
Sheikah
it.
tech go?
Yeah,
Like, I
there's
would have
a
been
bunch of
okay
theories.
if they just
There's-
gave like an explanation and like, oh, it like disappeared
So-
somewhere. But they at least I didn't see any explanation of
The
like
Cat
where it
Person's
was.
got the number one
made a
video on
this
YouTube.
very
He's got the number
Yeah.
one video
Cat
on
made a
YouTube
good
for this
video on that
theory.
one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. no.
Cap's about to slay. Go. Where'd the Sheikah tech
Okay,
go?
Yeah,
so
play.
first of all, things stopped working at the end of Breath of the Wild. That much is very
Okay,
clear.
sure.
Very
Okay.
clear. So
Yes.
also all this stuff lying around, this is like superpower weapons of mass destruction lying around, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
That just terrorized your kingdom for a century. You're gonna want to remove it. Like you're not gonna want to leave it lying around because if Calamity shows up again, he's just gonna that's a free army waiting for him. Like we just learned this lesson, right? So they start dismantling it. They repurpose what they can to build things like the Skyview Towers, which are built out of you've got pedestals from the shrines, you've got pieces of divine beasts in there, you've got guardian legs that come up to secure you. That's all repurposed Sheikah technology, right? There's another chunk of it that was probably eaten by Ganon. And I say eaten in that there are chasms, there are a good, not all of them, but a good handful of chasms that exist in the exact spots that shrines were in Breath of the Wild. So the theory is that whatever they hadn't gotten around to yet dismantling, Ganon said, hey, he basically learned the same lesson because he always learns from his defeats. He said, hey, this is the technology that I killed Link in the past. 100 years later, they used this technology to wake him back up. He went to all these shrines to rebuild his strength and stuff. And then he came back and kicked my ghostly specter's ass and annihilated Calamity again. And I'm going to get rid of this stuff too. So he used Gloom, deployed it from the depths and swallowed up and disintegrated whatever Sheikah tech was left in the ground.
So while you're in the underground, there were some shrines. There were some shrines left still, and then that's a fair. That's a fair
It's a
explanation.
theory. It's a theory.
Well, that
it's
helps
a combination
explain.
of factors.
Yeah,
basically.
my comment was going to be, well, how the hell did they get? Because like, what is it? I think it's like 5 years or something like that between then and when
It's never outright
between
stated, but
Breath of
people
the
are like,
Wild and-
Yeah, it's
ballpark.
around that. You could based on
Madison-
Hudson's kid.
Madison looks about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So
be
I had
honest.
thought that's a good point. Is a lot of people are like Madison is 7 years old.
5
so
to
it has
8
be at least
years.
8. And I've said, and I've combed
5 to 8
through
years.
all of the text.
I agree.
Nowhere is her age actually specified. So all we
There's
can
a
do
reason
is
they
speculate.
strategically did that.
They do
They
strategically.
So
Absolutely.
I actually made a video on
Every
this,
time.
right?
Every time.
And
I watched
mean,
that one too.
the fact
such
of
a
the matter
big
is
man.
we don't know the answer from everything I've seen, right? Madison is our best tell, but we don't know her actual age. But
There's other characters that age up too.
Yeah, like
true,
Trulin
Coco
and Cass's kids.
Cass's kids, yeah.
Riju looks like a woman now as opposed to a teenager. I mean, there's some debate.
Where's
there, but she's-
Cass?
Where is
Dead.
Cass? His
Yeah.
daughters are still.
But we
But
also don't know
I
how
wanna make
all the
a-
races.
Cass and his
I
wife
wanna
are
make
on
this quick point
vacation.
about Madison, though, real quick.
I'll also say
Yeah.
this: we don't know how the races age, and we don't know what a year there is.
That part
True.
is
True.
That part is true, but
Other than like the Hylians.
it is implied, right, that Gerudo girls, if they're born outside of the Gerudo village, they have to head over before they start to fancy men.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that they go there shortly before puberty. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
you look up the average puberty ages in women, right, like that can maybe
But that's
give
our
you-
world, not theirs.
I can very
I
Yeah,
am
and we
a
don't know
woman.
when
I'm gonna tell you
Gerudo,
right now. I am a
um,
woman, and I can tell you right now, it can be anywhere. As scary as it sounds, it could be anywhere from 9 to
Yep.
up to 18.
Correct. So you wanted to make sure it happens.
She's
beforehand.
obviously not 18 though.
Before that.
So-
Yeah, before that. Yeah, yeah,
My-
she's definitely not.
My theory on the age, and because like everyone's looking at Madison, and then like, oh, Madison didn't even exist in Breath of the Wild. It's like, how old is she now? And like, here's the thing: comparing it with the other characters that we've seen that actually aged up, I'm honestly thinking the ballpark of 3 to 4 years. But they're like, oh, but Madison is walking around and like, look how big she is. I'm like, yeah, and she's also a Gerudo girl who are known to be like very tall.
That's a very
Right.
good point.
right.
That's
So
a
I mean,
very
like,
good point.
her height is not
Yeah.
really what I take into account so
Yeah.
much as like
She
things
can read
like
and
her
write.
speech and
She's
her
teaching
reading and
people
writing capabilities.
multiple languages.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, no,
But
they're-
kids
they're
are
smart
language
kids.
sponges. Kids are absolutely language sponges. And so
We're comparing this too much to the real
being,
world.
being bilingual.
What else do we have
This
to
is a
compare to,
fantasy
though?
made up universe.
But
She could be
So how about
two
the
for all
Dragon
we
Tear
know.
quest,
Like,
am I right,
yeah.
guys?
who knows?
Okay, can we
He's
all
not
agree?
two.
Can we
He's
all
not
agree that
two.
Zelda and Link are at the very least
Amen. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
20.
20. They're, I think they're 25. I think that's like I thought we were gonna get
I'm
them
gonna
to
go like
25.
this.
Like,
They ain't
I'm
that,
gonna go
they ain't
like
that
this.
old.
at all.
I'm
They're
gonna go
all
like
20s.
this.
All right.
We
That's
know
what I'm
they're at
saying.
least 100 because 100 years passed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're in their
I
20s
think-
physically.
Yeah, they're in
Physically,
their
they're in their
20s.
20s, yeah.
They're in their 20s. Yeah.
Can we also agree that they're together?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
Yes.
There's no way
that's
that they're
just
not.
an
There's
indisputed canon of
how-
fact
this
at
is
this
the first time.
If you
other
if
than
you
the
wanted to
very-
deny they're together, then you're just
That's
because you
you.
don't want them
Yeah.
to be.
That's
It's
you.
because you don't want
She
them to
literally
be.
took his
They're
house.
So
Like, come on.
obvious.
Yeah,
If
she
that's
turned
their
he turned
house,
his
their
man cave
house,
into
Their
a
house
house.
now.
Okay,
Our
Their
just,
house.
just to give y'all a perspective, me and my boyfriend been together probably, I think it's going on like 16 years. Yes, we're not the married couple. I have issues. So here's the thing. I have my own place. He has his own place. I love him more than anything. I would literally die for this man. I really would. But you know my place is my place, and you know that his place, well, you know he lived there.
Well, to back up your point here,
And
right,
that's what
they-
us girls do. So that's
with
how I
Zelda,
knew that they were
do.
together.
They take
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
with Zelda and Link living together in that house, right? She contracted Bolson to build her a secret room to get away, to
be
be able
alone.
to just go study in peace. If Link didn't live there with her, if she lived alone, why would she need that? She has her
So-
own.
You don't.
Yeah.
then, right?
And why is his
And he
stuff
took,
in that
she
room?
took all of his cool swords off the wall.
Yeah, that's
Because that's
And
what
then
we
Link broke them
do.
anyway.
I know.
let's
Then
put
he broke
things
them. It's
about
fine.
for a
I'm not
moment.
that bad.
No. Let's
He
be honest.
doesn't-
I
Link
always
doesn't
put the
even get one
champions' weapons
wall.
up there, anyways, and so my headcanon is that Link just went and gave them back to everybody. That's why Sidon has Mifa's old spear and etc. etc.
Yeah,
So
but he just, but like the
But-
flame sword. Come on, I keep a flame. sword.
I always put champions' arms up there.
And you know what's
Yeah.
funny? The game is so aware that there's this part where you, in the Gerudo area, when you get your Shimtar, your Abruzal Shimtar and Daybreaker,
Mhm.
where the jeweler says, "I expect you to use these items,"
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Nah, they going in a new house."
they know.
Oh, no,
They know.
No,
I
the Scimitar, the six, that weapon is
That's the
busted.
Lionel
It's
Rider weapon.
so
You use that
busted.
with a
The
silver
Lionel-
Lionel saber horn.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
139. Let's go.
Beautiful. And then you toss that sucker into a Rocto Rock to see if you can get that attack boost if you can. If
Nah, I'm not out here playing
I
gotcha
have-
myself.
Can
it
we
is,
go
it is
gadget?
the Lionel Rider weapon for sure.
Can we go through the story? Because I want y'all to explain it to me. Because I've had a
Oh,
margarita.
yes.
So,
By
I'll
the
give
way,
you-
Nate, please jump in because you know how I am.
I'm moderating. I'm good.
Okay.
Can I give the story synopsis?
Yeah.
Okay,
Please
I this
do.
all the time on my podcast.
Synopsis.
All right, cool. So
Serenade
I'm going to speak a little bit generally, but yeah. So beginning game, you're in the bottom of the castle. You and Zelda are jumping around, doopa doopa doo. You're discovering the lore of what actually happened with the Calamity War of the Demon King. You get to the bottom of the castle, you find a Demon King being sealed by hand, and I guess by crazy random happenstance, because the gloom was leaking out so much, the seal was breaking, and the moment you get there, it finally breaks completely. And literal hell is unleashed across the world. You fall into a pit with Zelda. Zelda poofs away because she picked up cool little tear looking stone, and then you go away as well, and you're saved by the arm that was sealing in the Demon King. What is there a time frame of how long it's been since that, and then when you wake up in the Great Sky Island?
It could be anywhere from like 2 seconds to like, you know,
feel like it's like
I
a
want to
week.
say it's like
I want to
like
say
that.
it's weeks. I want to say
Yeah.
Enough
So-
time that they know Link and Zelda have gone missing.
They
Yeah.
made,
Yeah, they
they
know
made
they were
missing
missing.
posters. They made missing
And
posters.
they made posts. That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's been like a week or so at least. You wake up in the Great Sky Island. Raru
Right.
teaches you. Basically, it's another great tutorial. Great, great plateau. Bada bing, bada boom. You get your cool abilities. Cool abilities you get are you get Ultra Hand, which lets you. It's basically magnesis, but you can do it with anything. That it doesn't have to.
You
be
get to
metal.
build transformers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
you
I'm
get
cubics.
You
Robots are
get
for everyone.
what are the other? Oh my gosh, what are the other? I'm blanking.
Ascend.
You get time ascent. Yes, so you
Ascend.
can, if there is a ceiling above you and it's within a reasonable distance, you can just straight up phase through the ceiling and get up on that ledge. It's pretty cool.
Yay!
It's pretty
This
nice.
game's escape rope.
Recall.
Yeah, you really do get an escape rope, but it's pretty nice. I won't lie.
Funny
get-
enough, that was
nice.
a debugging feature that they left in because they're like, okay, we don't see anyone.
Yeah, this is the no. They're like, we
Yeah.
don't like backtracking. They're not going to like
Well,
backtracking. Let's get the-
Especially because they took out Revali's Gale, which we'll get to. But yeah, you get time reversal, which when there's objects in motion that you can ultra hand, you can also use a time reversal technique on said object to recall them, to wherever where they were in the past. It's a pretty complex and impressive system, honestly, especially for the Nintendo Switch.
Which is actually
what is the
Zelda
last one that I'm forgetting?
eligibility.
Fuse.
Auto
Fuse.
build, but you get that later.
There's Fuse and
Oh,
auto
Fuse.
build.
build.
yeah,
Fuse.
auto builds later.
Fuse.
Yeah.
So with Ultra Hand, you can fuse said objects that you move around together and make a big structures and
like weapon fuse,
contraptions
though,
and
is the
weapon
separate
fuse
ability.
as well. Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
you're
weapon
right.
and
And then you
shield.
also get weapon fuse, where you can fuse items to either your sword or your shield or your arrows, or you
And
can
literally
fuse-
just about anything.
yeah, literally anything.
Literally.
It's kind of impressive. It's pretty fun. You get down from Skyland. There's 4 corners where there's great nature travesties happening. I'll do them in the order I went in. So you go to the north.
I feel like we
northwest.
skipped a major event. I
Oh,
know
what
you're talking
happened?
in
I'm sorry.
generalities.
Zelda
Let's
dies.
get.
Yeah.
Well, for starters,
Snape kills
before we
She's
get
just
before we
absent.
get down there, the Master Sword vanishes and ends up in
Oh yes.
Zelda's hand.
Yes, I'm
Where is
sorry, I
Zelda?
missed that.
What is going on?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, when you were fighting the Demon King, or when you first encounter him, you use your sword, but the sword shatters, and so you give your sword away before you go to the surface to what we presume to be, at least as Link presumes to be Zelda, and Zelda in a time before gets it and is like, all right, I'll heal it, and we'll figure out what that is in a second. It's crazy.
I got this.
Yeah, that's
I already
crazy.
took all your other weapons away from you off your wall.
Yeah, exactly. It's so sad, the little desolate little chode of a sword you get out.
It tried its
so-
best. Leave it alone.
Hey,
It was tried
it was
best.
4
hey, I
good
took out like
swings.
2 enemies with it. Come on. No,
Yeah,
Four good
exactly.
dude,
swings.
it still
Well,
kicks some ass. Those
Little
constructs didn't see what
Zonite
was
guys,
coming.
yeah. So then there's the great weather calamity things that are happening in the world again. You go to the northwest, excuse me. You go to the Rito village. You go all the way up in the sky, and you meet up with Tulin, who is the new sage of wind. And you go to the sky boat, which is this was my favorite dungeon and also boss fight in the game, by the way. And you
Because the
fight
music is ace.
Ace. It's great. It's fantastic. It's also just a cool spectacle of a boss fight. You beat that, and then you find out you get the same cutscene 4 times over throughout the game about the Demon King and how the sages were like, "Yeah, we're gonna beat him," and then they don't beat him.
They
You
help.
do the same, yeah, and you do the same thing in Ellen Volcano with what's his name?
Yunobo?
Yunobo.
Yunobo, that's it.
Got to stop the drug crisis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Oh
so
my!
crazy. Yeah,
Yo, when I
Yeah,
saw my, they did not do this. That's crazy.
I thought that was
Yeah.
awesome.
Drug
Well, as
epidemic.
soon as I realized it was drugs, I'm like, this is great.
This is
Yes, Nintendo.
Did anybody go to
Yes.
the stable right before that area and see all the guys in their underpants?
yeah, that's so
And-
funny.
I was going around teasing those of you guys that have live streams that if I'm able to attend. I was like, just remember when you get to Elden, it's underpants and demon possession, because that's exactly
Demon
what it was
possession.
like.
It really, yeah.
I wanted to find a better way than to say drug use, because I felt like that was clearly giving it away.
Yeah.
So this was
exactly.
like week 2 of the game being out.
Yeah. So yeah, you go there, you deal with the drug crisis, then you go to the Sidon's area with the water where something's pooping out of the sky, dragon
With some
sludge
mud
is
going
falling
on, I
out.
don't know.
Yeah, a lot of sludge falling from the sky. You go up with Sidon and which arguably I really wish Sidon's ability was better. I think his is the weakest, and it makes me really sad.
I
but
use it the
is.
least.
I agree.
It's just
It's also
it
the
makes
worst
me so sad.
dungeon in the game as well.
But
It's
Whoa!
Yeah,
Whoa!
I agree with that. I agree.
No,
with
who
Water
that.
said
temple.
that?
Water
Water
Temple is
Temple?
the worst
Weakest.
dungeon in Tears
No.
of the
The
Kingdom.
Goron
No,
Temple is
no.
right there.
No, I love
True.
the Gore. I love
Yeah,
the
Fire Temple is
Minecraft
better.
stuff. It's
No,
so
You
fun.
get to ride
Oh,
roller
no.
coasters in the fire temple.
Ain't nobody got time for that, man.
I
no.
love that. I love that though.
Nah, bro. You out here to try and make me use your stupid ass Donkey Kong carts, man. I literally use Ascend and my glider, and I'm like, get me out of this dungeon.
Some
That's
people
the-
do
that's
the
the beauty of it,
The
it's
air bike. They just
cheesable.
air biked everywhere
Nah.
through it.
I
The
love
water
that
dungeon is the water dungeon
Yeah.
was amazing. I love the water dungeon.
It was
The
it
thing
was
is-
too easy. It
Low
was like
gravity,
the
though.
simplest. It was less complicated than inside the Deku Tree and Ocarina of Time. Honestly,
Agreed.
Honestly.
Here's the thing: Sidon makes a
Agreed.
better character and a better.
I
best
love
friend,
Sidon.
Yes.
Look.
No. Yes.
but
The
his
water
t-
temple was not that uncomplicated.
Can we
for
talk
me,
about?
It
because
wasn't.
I didn't realize on the one that you could undo the sludge on the thing to get a wind gust to blow the object up to the other sky island. This is like the one that's on the left. So
Oh,
this
yeah.
whole time I'm trying to use platforms and like build weird contraptions at a time that I wasn't very good at building. And I probably spent like 2 hours failing at that before I realized what you were supposed to do.
You want to know what the best part of the water temple was?
Sidon.
And on
Oh,
Yeah.
In terms of
Everything.
explorable environments.
I'm sorry, Andre.
No, we're good. We're good. Your
Oh, the
drink is
floaty
great.
stuff. The
Thank
floaty.
you.
The
The
fact
best-
it was all floaty.
Oh,
No,
dude,
that
I
part
did like the
that
jumps.
part is solid, but the best part to me was under the lake.
yes.
Oh yeah.
That part,
where you
the
Mm.
ancient Zora Waterworks, that they should have just
Oh, yeah.
expanded that and made that the dungeon.
Oh,
Honestly,
really
the
should.
vibe down there
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
good.
yeah,
like-
I would have liked that a lot more than it
Yeah.
being in the sky.
I feel like the
I-
water temple should have been a space dungeon. Should have been the space temple.
on the moon.
Andre
You just wanted the
determined to
moon
get us
theory
to
to
the
come
moon.
true.
Listen,
That's
listen,
all.
man. Listen,
I
man.
know.
DLC.
Determined to get us to the moon.
DLC. At the space, there's going to be the
It
space
would be cool
stage.
if
It's going to
there
tell
was
you where all the
something like
Zonai come
teleporting you to the
from.
moon.
Yeah,
Oh.
see, we went in the tiers. We forgot the outer space tier, though. We had one more to go.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
moon
yeah.
Outer
tier.
space tier.
It
They
could
also
work.
have the
Anywho.
underwater tier. Each expansion pass is a new tier.
Rosalina shows up, and
Yo, Mario.
There were
Galaxy
also-
3.
Hey, let me ask you guys a
Crossover.
question. Let me ask you guys a question, right? Because if you make videos, right, there are people in comments that say, "Hey, you shouldn't say this, you shouldn't do that." So you kind of are
forget
taught
those
how to
people.
say things.
Who?
Right?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Forget
So
those people.
the secret stones, for the longest time, I just called them tiers because they look like tiers. The motif
Yeah.
of Tears of the Kingdom
Yeah.
is tiers. I
Mhm.
felt like it was pretty fair to still call them tiers. I call them secret stones now because that's still accurate. It's more
Mhm.
accurate, and that way people don't get mad at me. But they're still tiers to me.
Mhm.
Agree or disagree?
They're tears. Yeah. No,
They're
100%.
tear shaped. They're Magatama. They're
I
It's
call them
it's
tears.
I call 'em-
intentionally they're intentionally made. It's intentionally looking like tears. Like it's not like a
The dragon
coincidence.
is freaking crying as you're standing in a little place
Okay.
of silent princesses.
Yeah. Let's get to that.
which
So,
was created by the
Is that
secret stone.
Rum chata.
oh my God. not the
Look.
rum chata.
Nate ain't playing.
look, I was trying to think like we had a $5 super chat, and I'm already drinking. So I'm like, look, I usually
Yeah.
do shots for $5, and I'm like, what's the weakest alcohol next to me at the moment? That's what I got.
That's valid. That's valid.
So if you
It's
put
not my
rum
margarita
chata,
recipe.
if you put rum chata, mix a little bit of milk with that, and then like crumble an Oreo in it, it makes a really
Oh.
nice like creamy martini.
Nice.
Dude, I put some rum chata with Oreo in a milkshake. Oh, so good.
that sounds
Oh,
amazing.
so good.
That sounds beautiful.
So I want to talk about, and we're just going random
Can-
directions, right? There's no,
can I-
there's no.
Can I
It was
finish my
like,
synopsis?
I didn't finish the
Can I
synopsis.
finish?
Okay,
I'm
good.
so
I'll be
close.
right
I'm
back,
so
guys.
close. I'm so close. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
all right.
So
We got 2
last
dungeons
place-
in.
Yeah, we're 2. No, we're 3. That was the water
3. Oh,
temple.
sorry,
So-
3.
So last, there's the
Next, the
the
best
Gerudo-
one. Best
The
dungeon. in the
Gerudo,
game.
yeah, which is that was a pretty good dungeon.
Lightning
Um,
Temple for the win.
Yeah, that's probably it's
Mm.
my second favorite, but it's still a very close second, if they will. There's the Lightning Temple in the Gerudo Desert. You have to solve their problem where a bunch of zombies are hoarding the village, and there's a giant sandstorm, and it's crazy.
best drop in
you
the
s-
game.
Yeah. You solve everybody's problems. There's 2 other things that you can potentially do as like a side quest that you don't have to do to beat the game, but is highly recommended for you to beat the game and kind of completes the story. One is the dragon tier quest. So there's these weird hieroglyph things all over the map. You go and you explore all of them. Try to do them in order because you can do them out of order, and it kind of is crazy that you can do them out of order, but you do do them in as best order as you can. There's a way to do that. There's in the Temple of Time. There's like a circle that shows them all. And you basically get the story of like how the Demon King War happened, where this old Ganon was born, and how Zelda fell into the old timeline, or like back into the past, met Rauru and Sonia, my bad. Sonia. From there, they meet Ganon. Ganon's like, I'm going to take over Hyrule. And then Rauru's like, no, you're not. And so they don't. And he pledges his allegiance. And by pledging his allegiance, he means he stabs his wife in the back.
No. He punches her and breaks her
he
neck.
punches?
It's a punch.
Damn.
It's a spinal punch.
It's a
That's
real
a meaty
backbreaker.
punch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ganon, oh my gosh, what's her name? Gwen Stacy's
Let's just go with
Sonia.
that.
Sonia.
Ah,
I'm sorry,
Sonia. I like
yeah.
Sonia.
Gone too soon.
And he gets his own Power
She was
Stone
great.
and becomes the Demon Lord. Very Demise looking. Everybody thought he was Demise leading up to this game. Yada yada yada. So you learn that backstory. And to save everybody, so they all confront the Demon King and lose, right? That's what we've learned in the temples. At that point, we
Can you drive?
Zelda's like, I only have one last option. So she takes her stone, eats it, and becomes a fucking dragon. It's so sick. It's so goddamn cool. I was losing my shit when this happened. She becomes a literal dragon, and she puts the sword in her forehead and heals the master.
Wait,
Sword,
what?
makes
She
it
becomes a
feel
dragon?
Whoa!
Wait, there's dragons in this game.
Oh, come on.
Crazy. Yeah, sorry. There's the big spoiler, guys. There's the
Would
big
you
one.
still love me if I was a worm?
I know, literally the.
Oh,
ultimate
those
guy.
videos.
I hate
So
that.
that's optional story, main story thing number one. Optional main story thing number two. There's a fifth temple technically in the game. What is it called? Is it the Spirit Temple?
The Spirit Temple, yeah.
Also, a big thing that we hadn't talked about, there's a third layer to the world called the depths, and it's basically another fucking overworld area that you could explore and find cool things and rematch old dungeon bosses and find new dungeon bosses and yada yada yada. Very cool, very fun. So you go to the depths, or there's like a quest for it in the sky, and then you go to the depths. You get what's her name? What's the spirit's name?
Minoru. You
interact with Minoru, and Minoru's like, hey, I'm in a mech bot. Come build this mech bot thing, and you can ride me around and use me as a mech bot, which was also pretty freaking sweet. So you get the mech bot, and she is technically the fifth sage that you collect in the game. At that point, you can just go and defeat Ganon, which he's hiding somewhere, but he's just under Ganon. He's just under the castle again. You just go down there and like find the hole, and you're like, oh,
He's like literally in the same place he left.
yeah, he's literally in the same.
Everyone's like,
spot.
where is he?
Did
He's
you
just
talk about
exactly
the
where
part,
you found him before.
Or did I miss that?
What'd you say?
The puppet part where you go to the castle, the puppet part. Did I miss
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
Puppet
yes.
Ganon.
When you have to do the castle part where you fight
Yeah.
Puppet Zelda. I still wish you fought her. I wish you fought Phantom Ganon at like you fought Zelda instead of fighting Ganon. That would
I'd
have been
never
so much cooler.
emotionally recover from that. I would.
Yeah, that would have been
I'd have
so
to stop
much
the
cooler.
game
There's gonna be
right
some
there.
serious spoilers right now that I'm about to start. My brother's right here.
Yeah.
This is like some serious.
He hasn't
serious
played it
stuff.
yet. Like,
So
all right, drive safe.
okay,
You're good?
I don't want.
Okay. And there's more of this in the fridge on the counter. Okay.
Remind me where to refill up, buddy. Get
Okay.
that refill.
He
This
can't
is
drive
very
home.
strong, and I have not driven a lot today.
He can't drive home.
Uh-oh.
Sorry,
not
I got
stopping
a lot
him.
going on over here. I'm about to beat up my neighbor. But real quick, don't let him drive home. These are
You're
not.
you can't
don't-
drive home, Daniel.
No, you can't.
Oh,
Auntie
can't.
said no.
You're couch crashing tonight,
Can't
bud.
drive
Your
home.
couch crashing. Your couch
Because
surfing.
He's
do
getting the
not
game
let-
Sleep on the
spoiled for him.
couch.
Do not let the
You actually can
smooth
sleep on the
taste
bed.
fool you.
Okay.
Do not let the
Anywho.
smooth taste fool you. It will.
Oh no, this is great. This is great. Great.
Yeah. See how you feel in about 20 minutes.
No, I'm. Don't worry, I'm a big boy.
No, you're gonna feel fabulous. You're just not gonna want to be
already
around.
You're gonna feel
fabulous.
I already
amazing.
feel fabulous.
Yeah.
And we're talking Zelda. It's
all
a
right,
double
all
high.
right,
Let's
all
go.
right.
Anyway,
All right, I need
as
direction.
FVLAM
here.
was
There's a
saying.
lot- There's so
Last
much.
piece.
I'm sorry.
You go and fight Ganon, It's a freaking epic boss fight. You get to the boss, you get to the parrying, you get to, what is it? Fury rush him, and then he Fury rushes you back, and you're like, what? I didn't know you could do that.
I never did it. Never Fury rushed him.
That Fury rush got
part,
me.
the best part of this boss fight, in my opinion, is when he turns into the Demon King and his health bar just keeps going to the other side of the screen. I didn't think they would ever do that in any Nintendo. That's like some Toby Fox shit. That's some Undertale shit. I was like, oh no, we're gonna die. This is it. Anyways, you beat that phase and then you go into what's more of like, the spectacle phase 3 than anything, but that's also a really badass part. He does what Zelda did. He eats his tear and he becomes a big dragon, but then plot twist, Zelda comes too, and then you have this 2 dragon battle and you're stabbing the dragon's little pimples, and then finally you put the sword in his head, and as we were saying earlier, kablooey, big old nuke, and scene.
Well,
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not quite end scene.
Yeah.
There is a lot more. Really.
We have
And then you start crying.
That's not even the end of the gameplay. There's still more gameplay.
And then you gotta catch Zelda.
Exactly.
Catch Zelda.
Zelda's back.
Turn Zelda.
She's not
out
a
of her
dragon anymore.
form.
Large scale recall.
Large
there you
scale.
go.
Fly through the
Massive
sky.
recall
It's so
from
cool
what's
because-
left of this weird race that we still don't know that much about.
Yeah, really.
DLC, baby.
I feel like that's what they're gonna do in the DLC is like explore like Zonai stuff more. That's probably what it's gonna be.
Let me.
I've seen a lot of theories that like it's probably gonna explore the dragons,
I'd
the
love that.
Feroz, Nadra, and
would be very cool.
Dinra.
That would be
I'm gonna say
amazing.
if this
You
is
are
how the
definitely
dragons
Zonai.
are always made, then it's like what are the we'll have to get to
Exactly.
like the stories of those people and how they went.
There will not be DLC.
Don't
tasty.
no.
Okay,
don't
hold
say
on,
that.
hold on.
Don't name.
Hold on.
Don't crush
Don't
my
say
dreams
it.
like
I
that.
have reasons.
Before
Go on.
No, you
we-
don't.
I
They're not
also have
reasonable.
reasons.
Before we
His
do
dad
the
works at
DLC
Nintendo,
talk,
guys. Come on.
Yeah, well,
I
my
wanna
friend
ask.
worked at Nintendo.
How
Well,
Andre,
your
you
friend
said
got
what you were
Bowser in
saying.
his name.
I'm gonna
because,
eventually work at Nintendo, like seriously.
Well, I mean,
Hell yeah.
I already wrote a
Gracie,
Zelda script, and now I'm working on the second one.
remember just to send me the DMs via Discord whenever you see the Metroid or Donkey Kong promotional material.
No, what's gonna happen is you're just gonna get the mysterious dude at your doorstep that's like, "Are you
The
Andre's
Nintendo
restart?
Ninja.
Please sign here." And that's it. That's it. And then when you get a mysterious invitation to the Oscars, oh yeah, I'm that good.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
her
I'll
Zelda
take it.
script for the movie's that good.
I'll take
is
it.
that good.
I'd love it.
Yeah. Anyway, as
You might
as
get me
you
to
work
go to the
gentlemen.
Oscars.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Andre,
Maybe.
you
I
had
don't know.
something to say. Oh, no,
Oh.
go ahead.
Yeah. So just a little thing about the recall part at the end. I just think it's really poetic. You look at Breath of the Wild, right? So like the big part of the promotions here, the first teaser is Link jumping into the air using the bow, right? The bow is a big kind of like focus of his abilities. And then in Tears of the Kingdom, you look at like there is a statue that had the recall symbol, right? Recall is the most important ability you kind of get in terms of story. And it's something that Zelda learns to use. It's something Sony uses. It's something that you use at the end. Well, it's not confirmed, but it's implied based on the gold particles and all of that Zelda's brought back. So I just kind of like the kind of like poetry of all of that. It's kind of like a it's full circle. Recall the beginning, recall the end. It brings her back.
Pretty freaking
I just really like that.
I just
We
wanna
always
ask-
get Zelda back, but we lose somebody else. That's
How?
just the way the games have always been set up.
Good
Oh,
thing they were
Minoru.
supposed to be dead a long time ago anyway.
Poor
In
Minoru.
Minero's case, that's why it didn't hurt as much.
No, who we really
Yeah.
lost was Wolf Link. That's who we really
True.
lost.
Yes.
We just get a
True
pile of
tragedy.
meat now. That's so sad. I'm
We
like,
just
where's
get-
my
yeah.
wolf?
So, how many secret stones are there? Because
7.
At least 11.
are there
What?
7?
Yeah, at least there's 7 confirmed, 11 implied because of the dragons. that we've seen.
Oh, okay, I see.
But there,
Yeah.
there could be more. We don't
Well,
know.
actually,
But aren't some
at
of
least
those
10.
overlapping?
At least 10.
But
One
Zelda's
of
is an
two of them-
overlap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Zelda's and
Yes.
Sonya's are overlaps.
Correct.
Because-
Well, no, Zelda has
It's
a
a
raw
there-
root. Yeah, Zelda's raw root.
there
not
are-
Sonya.
there
And
are-
then Ganondorf takes Sonya's.
Oh, that's what you.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry, I
So I-
misunderstood.
and I was
Yeah.
mistaken. I think it's 10, right? Because you have the 7 sages.
And the 3 dragons.
Secret stones for its respective timeline.
Yeah, it's 10, it's 10,
Because
10,
Zelda
yeah.
throws it off because she
Mhm.
jumps in, right?
I've always been
Uh,
confused on the
right,
Secret
so-
Stones because it was Raru's
King?
hand right? That was holding him down. So why wouldn't it be Raru's secret stone?
It is.
Oh,
Raru's
he
secret
puts
stone.
It is.
Well, the
It is.
stones
It is
are
Raru's.
Okay.
the stones are universal though. They
So then how is
amplify the
Sonia's
power of the
yes.
person.
with Zelda's? Well,
Okay,
There's
Zelda
no
had
definitely
Raru's.
different.
The secret
they're
stones-
just powerful.
They don't grant you new abilities. They only enhance
They
abilities that
amplify what you
have.
already could
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So Zelda finds Raru's secret stone,
Yeah.
and then it like changes when she
It remaps
grabs it.
the
It
time.
changes.
It
yeah,
remaps itself.
Raru's
Yeah,
secret
yeah.
stone,
Yeah.
I would argue.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, it
Wait.
changes from being white to gold basically
Yeah.
when Zelda gets it. So there's no.
Wait, I thought
Weirdness.
Zelda had both in her
Zelda-
own stone.
So no, she is. Minoru states that she has both time and light powers, but the stone is only amplifying her time power. That's what
Because she's like a descendant of them too.
Both of them.
Yes.
Both. Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
she has both powers, because she's a descendant of both. Too.
Does that then explain away her goddess powers in Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I didn't
Triforce.
quite. It's
I had
interesting.
the
Yeah, I was
same
like,
question
where's
about
the
that.
Triforce wasn't in
where's
this
the
game.
Triforce? Yeah, like
Yeah.
where
It
I
was
like,
in this game.
The
In the
Triforce is
cutscene,
always
when Zelda
present.
is doing the Master Sword, the Triforce is glowing like all hell on the back of her hand, and the power is coming out of the Triforce symbol and going into the Master
So
Sword.
does she have the full
She is
Triforce?
using
then?
the Triforce to
But like,
repair
where's
the
like
Master-
the
That's
physical,
not the
tangible
Triforce,
Triforce
that's-
that we got in like Ocarina of Time? Like, where's that?
we
at?
it's
That
still up
didn't
in the
happen.
air.
Well,
So like the
kind of-
Yeah,
Triforce,
that's true.
the Triforce is like the Triforce is still unaccounted for in Breath of the Wild and in Tears of the Kingdom. The symbol that
Okay.
appears on Link on Zelda's hand is just to signify that she is able to use the sacred power that has been passed down throughout the
Yeah.
princesses. The mark of the Triforce does not designate if you have the Triforce or not. We've seen multiple
Yes.
incarnations of Link have the mark, but not the Triforce. Right. So
I would
But
say
she
there's
has
only,
her piece of the
one-
Triforce.
one
it's her
instant.
sacred power that she
It's
just
her
pours
piece.
into that.
It's the Triforce
So-
of Wisdom.
How
Well,
do we
like,
know
we
she?
don't
How do we
know.
know she does? She well, the thing like, is it just on the hand? Because in Breath of the Wild, it's also in the air briefly.
Like when
Right?
she activates it, it shines for a brief moment, but
Like,
it's not
it-
directly out
I-
state to be the Triforce. It's
I
just
would
like it's
argue,
the
though, it
fuming
is.
power. You know?
like they don't. It's been so long, and their historical records suck so bad that all this stuff is like lost to legend and myth and stuff like that.
activate
my But sacred then-
power, but nobody
yeah, but then
What-
but then retroactively, if Raru was the first to found Hyrule, then he would talk about the Triforce. He would say like, "Oh yeah, we have to make sure we keep this hidden or not." But it's like, no, he descended with secret stones.
Wait a
Unless the
minute.
secret stones are just more powerful than the Triforce, though.
Wait a minute.
There's a big theory
No.
going around that it's implied that they're offshoots or at least created from the Triforce or from the same entity because
Okay.
they're passed down from the same gods that the Zoni themselves descended from. But like it's one of
There's
those
so
up in
much.
the air
There's so
things.
much mystery
Okay.
there. There's
Yes.
so much
Yeah,
mystery.
there's so much unknown
wait,
with the
I have a
actual
question. I have-
Zonai origin story.
But see, I have a question. So the thing about it is that this is the way I've interpreted this. So you guys tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Link and Zelda from Skyward Sword, they founded the land, but then Zonai came
Yes.
along and they were the actual king and queen of and named it Hyrule.
No, there's so many.
Whispering. What happened?
I'm
There-
saying
there's
it's a
way
reboot.
So yeah, there's either that it's a reboot and it's like the other stuff's not even direct like linked to this technically.
I'm so glad.
But
you
then there's
said it's a
also
reboot.
this is like
That makes me happy.
what you're saying, like Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker and Majora's Mask and like every Zelda game before this, other than Skyward Sword, took place before Breath of the Wild. So it wasn't, and before Tears of the Kingdom. So it wasn't the kingdom of Hyrule as like we knew it in those games, or as
Well,
we knew it.
that's
in,
a theory. That should be clear.
yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
saying
that's
that,
a
that's
theory,
like
yeah.
a
Like Joyce,
timeline
you're
theory.
not wrong. These are different
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah.
And my theory
yeah.
is it's just rebooted the whole franchise.
So
None of those other
I want to
games have
kind
no
of
matter
go
what,
over. I want to go over my
including Skyward Sword. Didn't happen.
kind of understanding of this, right? Like just to kind of set it just so we know like where I stand on this, right? I kind of, and again, like as we announced to be in the podcast, everyone has different theories,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you can kind of pick and choose, right? Like, does Zelda have the Triforce? Does she just have the representation of the wisdom part? Like, there's just so much room for debate, and even if regardless of which side, there's still mysteries. Like, it's just the way it is.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
my perspective of the timeline placement of the memories, I kind of take what Rauru and Queen Sonia say at face value. They say they're the founders of Hyrule. Okay, they're the founders of Hyrule, which
Mhm.
on its surface implies that this takes place after the events of Skyward Sword, because Skyward Sword, the founding of Hyrule, has not occurred yet.
Yep.
As Flan was talking about, though, people debate if this is the first founding of Hyrule, or they just kind of ignore everything. And that's kind of like an interesting conversation. But just to kind of stick to this idea that this takes place after Skyward Sword, I like the idea that the memories take place literally as the true first founding of Hyrule. And there's some interesting kind of details that sort of support this. But of course, there's debate. One is, for example, Ganondorf has 2 companions. They are Kotake and Koame.
Koame and Kotake, yeah.
Yeah, there's several signs that show this, and they're young and in their prime. And what's really interesting about this is that in Ocarina of Time, when they pass away, we learn, I forget where, but I know they're supposed to be about 400 some years old.
Yeah, when they were bickering, when they were dying, they're like, I'm only 500. It's like, no, I'm only 400. It's like, yeah, I'm only 280.
Right.
We're twins.
We're
twins.
Like, right. It's hilarious. Yeah. But what's cool about that is that based off like what we understand, like Ocarina of Time could be taking place about 400 years after the founding of Hyrule. Mm-hmm. So it does fit. So you have to assume either so the possibilities are that this is what it is, or B, it's a recurring of events to some extent, kind of like what you're talking about earlier, HMK, how certain things can happen but in a slightly different way, or they just decided to not really care at all and they rebooted everything and they just kind of put in details for us to kind of argue for no reason.
But look at us, we're doing a spoiler cast for a game that came out months ago.
Yeah.
I'm
just gonna say, I think it's a reboot.
Fell into the trap
because as I was playing through the game, there's just certain stuff that like doesn't make sense within the context of what's already been.
Tell me, and I'll
counterpoint.
Try and argue. I'll try and
That's
argue
every Zelda game.
Oh, here we go.
That's why every Zelda game.
Let's make a list.
That is so right, Captain. That is so right.
Yeah.
But tell me them, and I'll try and argue against it, just because.
First one. What are the secret stones? Where do they come from?
Space.
Nope.
That's such a bad
idea.
that is sort of
another plane of existence.
Why can the power that Ganondorf has, amplified by a secret stone, destroy the Master Sword?
Oh, I got one.
This sword that is supposedly
10,000 years of training and anger.
I like to solve the puzzle. I actually have a video about this coming out tomorrow.
Ooh. There we go.
Solve the puzzle.
Let's get a preview.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So, as we all know, the Master Sword is divine in origin and somewhat in nature, if we're going by what like how it was created in Skyward Sword, right? Goddess Sword was forged by the goddess Hylia and then reforged using the purifying flames of the goddesses, and then the final blessing of Hylia in order to make it the true Master Sword, right? So why hasn't it broken up before when Ganondorf has clashed with when Link has clashed with Ganon? Ganondorf for all forms of evil, time and time again. It's because Ganondorf is smart and because he was empowered by a secret stone. First, a lot of people gloss over what is actually stated in Breath of the Wild and in multiple Zelda games, that not only is the Master Sword mapped only to Link, it also acts as his counterpart and a reflection of himself, right? When he sustains damage, it sustains damage. And we've seen that in Breath of the Wild, right? Link's arm was dismantled so badly that his health got reduced to 3 hearts, which is way below the 13 he was supposed to have when wielding this sword, right? And it could be argued him having the 13 hearts by getting all defeating bosses, going through the trials and the Sheikah shrines, that is him proving his worth as a hero. And he was already a hero back then when he first originally pulled it out of the sword. But when he had to pull it out of the pedestal in Breath of the Wild, he had to prove himself with 13 hearts. So if his hearts were reduced down to 3, that kind of puts his own heroism into question. But not that's also applying the fact that his body was severely damaged to that point. So the Master was reflecting that damage, and it also had a piece of gloom stuck to it as well. And we have to consider that even though gloom, which is also like the same kanji for darkness, is evil in nature, just like, when arguing, are the tears or the secret stones offshoots of the Triforce, which do not distinguish between good and evil, the Zonai secret stones are divine in nature, which puts them at equal footing to clash with the Master Sword and possibly shatter it if it was depowered, if it was weakened by what we saw with Link's own body and the the gloom on the Master Sword. And there was one
back up your
other
point.
thing.
When you're done, I'll throw in a couple
I know.
pieces, but keep going.
There was one last thing I forgot to put on. Oh, why hasn't it broken before? Because a lot of times when Link had to face Ganondorf, why couldn't Ganondorf just do the thing that Ganondorf did here when he had the Triforce? It's because Link always had some sort of divine blessing or a sacred guard in order to shield him from that, possibly. As we see in Ocarina of Time, we had the Triforce of Courage. Even though the Waves of Darkness was affecting Navi, it wasn't really affecting him. So there. Okay.
I have a detail to add after you.
Nice.
Sure. Okay, so to add to that point, like when
Tomorrow.
There,
No, I'm just saying.
I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
When
follow his
Ganon
YouTube.
first
Go
or
subscribe.
Ganondorf first attacks Link, or he goes for Zelda first, right? With this attack of gloom, Link initially is fully able to use the Master Sword to deflect that blow, like completely, and it doesn't break like that. It is only after it attacks and mangles Link's arm that the Master Sword is vulnerable. And then by the same token, when you face Ganon again at the end of the game, he's not able to break it in that final battle either, because Link is, full of vitality, even stronger than he was.
I don't think
The
that's why.
sword's also
I don't think that's why. The sword's the most
and the
powerful.
sword's
it's
even
ever been.
more powerful
Yeah.
because of Zelda
I think that's more.
healing it.
Yeah.
as
Did
well.
your
So-
guys's mind didn't break through that whole
Yeah,
the whole sequence?
it will not break.
My mind is
During
always broken.
the
So that adds to HMK's theory.
yeah,
a little bit.
in the Ganondorf fight, it will not break at all. It's like
It will not break.
Yeah, it will
Because
break
it
during
broke in Breath of the Wild. It broke.
in the Demon King
Well-
army fight. It will break
Can
there,
lose power. Yeah.
but it will not break during the Ganondorf fight.
Yeah.
It-
Well,
Okay.
It
I mean,
didn't
remember, like-
break in Breath of the Wild. It just got
depowered for a
damaged.
moment.
But if it can get
Goddamn.
damaged,
It's
it can
broken.
break.
Yeah.
Fire, wake up.
But
That's
We're-
not. It's not the same.
We're-
kind of
I'm
broken.
sorry.
We're talking about like,
I know
it
what you
will
mean.
not when facing Ganondorf, it will not run out of energy, but facing Calamity Ganon, it will run out of energy.
But also,
Right.
like Link being hurt, like you could be at one heart and it's still not going to do anything. I think that the reason it doesn't break at the end is because it's literally told in the story is that
yeah.
that Zelda, the whole
revitalized.
reason she did the dragon thing is because she was trying to power up the Master Sword
Yep.
to a point that it's never been, like more powerful than
Yep.
the sword is ever, because it takes time. It takes a lot of time with sacred power to power up the sword. And while it was at what we perceive to be the max power in Breath of the Wild, and at the end of the game, we've just never needed it to be more powerful because it's never rested in a place long enough to get
This is the
that
strongest
power.
version of Ganondorf.
Yes.
This is
It
Ganondorf.
is.
at
No,
his peak.
yeah. That too. That, by the way, and with me thinking it's a reboot anyways, I just kind of go,
We can argue that.
a lot of
yeah.
those other
It can
games
be
never
argued.
happened. And if
Yeah.
they never happened, and this is the only Ganondorf that's ever existed, and he's been sealed all this time. We have a story in Breath of the Wild about how the Calamity version of him came forth before, and they were able to beat him back. That's why the Sheikah Tech was created. They beat him back at some point. The Calamity version. They didn't know about the version underneath Hyrule Castle. They beat back the
Yeah.
Calamity. Whether they did it with Link or without Link, I don't know, but the Sheikah Tech existed at one point to fight back. And then obviously he came back again, and this time Link existed, and that's what maybe kicked off all the events that were eventually going to lead to Ganondorf. Because what do we hear in Tears of the Kingdom? Rauru was told because of Zelda about Link, and that Link, he might be the one that can. We can't beat him. Maybe Link can, and we just need to get this to Link's time.
Link is the last line of defense, and he told Ganon to his face, "Remember that name." That gave me
Also-
chills
So cool, by
personally.
the
Can I say I'm
Sorry.
disappointed? That line that Zelda said, Link, I don't think you can do it this time. When does she say that?
Oh, she
I
does it
didn't
in one of the
find
memories.
that.
No,
Yeah.
he does it
That's
in
definitely
the-
one of the memories.
Says
in the
Which
Master
memory
Sword of-
is it?
in the Master Sword of Time. I literally recorded it today again.
Yeah.
Okay, because
Mine-
I couldn't
it says
remember.
it.
I have all the memories, and I'm
Okay.
like, well, I can't find it.
So when she's like all despondent inside the Temple of Time, she's just remembering what happened where Rauru was sealing away and then giving
Yeah,
his
yeah.
life. And then he's
Mhm.
like, Link, I don't think you'll be able to beat him. And then her power starts going off, and then she finds the Master Sword, and the Master Sword like, goes
Okay.
in her hand. So that's
It's not
Oh,
as
okay.
dramatic. That's
But-
probably
and
why.
context
Yeah.
matters because she was thinking, "Damn, Link doesn't have the Master Sword. I'm not
Yeah,
there."
yeah.
It wasn't
Mhm.
even
Yeah,
her
so it didn't
not
feel as
believing in him.
dramatic as they set it up to be. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
probably why it
Yeah.
totally overlooked it, because it didn't feel
Yeah.
dramatic.
I mean, so
in the
what's
moment.
interesting about it is that while the context does help to explain why she lacked faith in him, she didn't really lack faith in him, it was just circumstances.
Yeah.
But it is all her. The reason she's like that is because she's seen just how strong he is.
Mm.
So, by the way, who was it that suggested that maybe Ganondorf is not as peak? I'm kind of curious what your perspective is. On that.
Ganondorf is not what?
that Ganondorf might not like in Tears of the Kingdom that he's not maybe the strongest he's ever been.
I mean,
because there's
in A Link to the
versions-
Past, he has the full Triforce.
Exactly.
All three pieces.
There's versions of him that have all 3 pieces.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
But
there's
that
definitely
goes back to the debate of what's
Triforce
more
or the
powerful, the
Tears?
Triforce or the stones.
Yeah,
Because the thing is, the secret stone makes
It's the Triforce.
Well,
Triforce.
but see, we default to the Triforce,
right
and
back.
yet this Ganondorf, without the Triforce, did more than any prior Ganondorf.
he,
Maybe
though?
leading you to believe that the secret stones might actually be more powerful.
Did he do more, or was he, like he was held in place by someone who didn't have the Triforce for like tens of thousands of years, right? Like Rory
But I
just like pinned him down.
Yes,
basically.
by
Well,
another one
Raro's
that
is
has a secret
probably a-
stone. He was held
but
down
he's-
by another secret stone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
Raro's-
he
other
took
thing
another
Raro's a
secret stone
beast.
to hold him down.
I think
And he
you know what's-
defeated multiple people with secret stones.
Mhm.
And
theory.
the other thing is, like with Ganon, also you have to remember he doesn't just like break your heart so you can just eat or get a fairy. He takes away your life.
Yeah.
If you get down to 0, you're done.
So
Period.
something
Yeah.
I want to kind of get at, right? In the memories that time, it's Ganondorf, but there is no Link or Zelda, and he's
Mhm.
supposed to kind of come around when there's a Link and Zelda. My speculation, unless DLC comes later down the road and kind of debunks that, is that Sonya and Rauru kind of take the place of Link and Zelda for that respective time.
Sure.
And with
I
that
can
in
see that.
mind, the whole idea that Rauru can't be such a beast that he could hold back Ganondorf for thousands of years, or actually maybe longer, I think it's pretty believable.
I just want to throw a little, just
Or it's not based on the Triforce at all.
tiny little.
Hmm.
See,
Reboot.
you mentioned
Not as important as it once was.
that there's no Link and Zelda, and I do think that Rauru and Sonya fill that spot. There are a
Right,
lot of
we're on the same page.
thematic ties between
Sure.
Rauru and Link and Sonya and Zelda. But what I think makes things kind of more confusing is the fact that we know after, if you finish all the shrines, there's a specific outfit that you get
Yeah.
that is
Well, you don't need to dodge around it. This is the spoiler.
Yeah,
cast.
spoiler.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah,
the ancient
it's-
heroes aspect is
And
the
that's-
hero.
he's the
from
hero in the
Calamity
mural.
Tapestry.
That's a different
Yeah.
time.
But it's a different
different
era. Totally.
That
Is
was
it?
during the first Calamity.
But-
yeah. Or
Okay,
that was
or
yeah, that
one
was
of
the-
them.
but he's a Zonai, right? Like that outfit looks exactly.
It does look Zonai.
I need that story.
If
It's very
anything,
similar.
if anything, it might be evidence towards their legacy. Because people debate that Rauru and Sonya didn't have any sort of offspring. I think they did. It was just off screen. Like they're clearly very mature. They've
They
been doing this for a
had to
while.
have because
Yeah.
it's inferred
Their
that
blood
Zelda
links,
might be
So
long.
they
long-term
literally say
related.
Descendant of
blood
them, yeah.
relation.
Yeah, so like there
So-
has to be a descendant,
And Mineru didn't get.
And
Like,
yeah, it could-
it ain't Mineru.
or maybe
So-
there's another Zonai we just never see the whole time. And they're
But
just-
according to
Yeah.
what they say in the
Yes,
story,
no.
in the memories, everyone else is dead by that point. So
They never say dead. They say they're not around.
yeah,
Like Ganondorf.
They
says,
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Zonai don't
Father
grace us
Nintendo's way
with
of
their
saying
presence.
dead.
yeah. It is inferred there's more Zonai somewhere else.
Yeah,
But
they-
we don't-
We've collectively assumed they're extinct or they're dead or whatever. But all we know is that they're just not around.
you know
They're
what's
not.
interesting?
They're not in Hyrule.
The Zonai being the Twilight theory is not deconfirmed.
I
Good
would
point.
say common ancestry is
Midna
more likely
comes
than them
back.
being exactly the same.
Yes.
class.
Well, that's
That
that's
makes
what I
sense.
mean, though, right?
Yeah.
Like because the Twilight weren't the Twilight until it became the Twilight. They were just magic using people
Mhm.
that perhaps got too close to the sun, metaphorically speaking, right? So
Sure.
we're on the same page.
Sure.
No, Brian Doe brought up nobody's talking about Zelda being part Zonai. No, we totally we all get that, right?
We were just
Yeah.
talking about
We're
her
totally
being
getting
Raru's
that.
descendants.
That's why she has the
enough to
time
matter.
and the light. Like she's
Yeah.
got both because
She
of
is.
them.
They are her adoptive parents, which really just means they're her great whatever.
Yeah. If
Fair
Zelda
enough.
went to
So-
Ancestry.com, it would say her genetics would be 0.28% Zonai.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
so far down that generational
Yeah.
like.
Well, like
descent.
to
They
put it in
got those
perspective,
Zonai genes out of here.
the Kingdom of Hyrule's founded, right? And then whether we want to take the rest of the timeline into account or not, because apparently some people just want to write it all off.
Yep.
At least enough time has to have passed for Hyrule to become a technologically advanced civilization. Then a
10,000
calamity happens.
a
Then
long time.
10,100 years happens, and then it's Breath of the Wild. So we have an insurmountably huge amount of time between whenever Rauru and Sonia's age was, and whenever the present day of Tears of the Kingdom was.
And here's my other theory about that is that, when it comes to maybe because I know I said earlier Skyward Sword Zelda was first or second, and something like that. I don't know. Y'all, I'm drunk. So here's the thing. So think about it. Like this. What if Lincoln's okay, so Zonai were there first, then Link and Zelda come from the sky. They somehow intermix because there were other people that came from the sky as well.
What I missed?
Intermix. We're talking about genealogy.
We're talking about Sonia
genealogy with Zonai and Hyrulean people. So because think about it is, even though they're not the exact same, Hyruleans seem like they have the same kind of ears. That's what really sticks out for me. And I paid attention a little bit better this game, and I was like, not everybody has the same ears, depending on where you go. So I'm wondering if it's a thing where it's somebody from the Zonai and somebody from Skyward Sword hooked up and eventually got to Rauru and Sonia, who eventually got to more Hyrulean people and kind of went that way. Because also Link and Zelda look a lot alike.
Hey now.
Hey.
I know that's creepy.
I think that's just a couples thing. That's just a couples thing.
Yeah,
like
you
how
do see a real life couples that look alike.
Yeah.
They're not cousins. They're not
easy with the art. Let them be. They just want to. They just made a good looking face, and they said, you know what? Good face.
Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, right? If we assume that the hero's aspect is like the offspring or like the grandchild of Sonia and Rauru, he looks pretty different from the princess or of that time in the tapestry. So
I want to know that story. Who's that guy?
I'm just glad it put the good guy Ganon theory to rest.
Right. I was so tired of that.
Yes.
I'm gonna say this right now. The ancient hero. A lot of people's like, oh, like led to this, led to that. Let's hey, listen, we don't really have a good blueprint of what a Zonai looks like. All right, Rauru and Minru, despite being brothers and sisters, they got some mad differences, especially with their ears and their hair and whatnot. I'm saying this right now. That ancient hero, he just showed up. Everyone's like, oh, Minru and Rauru are the last Zonai. It wasn't really said anywhere.
No. That's what we were just saying.
Yeah. And I'm like the ancient hero, he just came.
Yeah, it could have been oh man, you know what? My long-term off-related founder of this land, he did something about this dude once, and you know what? This dude's becoming a problem again. And
exactly.
Take care of it. You know what?
Hero had to rise up.
I want to be worshipped. I want to be worshipped. It's my time to shine, baby.
There is also something to be said for like characters in universe giving us information, and how much do they actually know versus like our meta knowledge and stuff like that, right?
Like Rauru isn't a totally reliable source.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
True.
It's like there are definitely characters, like take Calip, for example. Characters who he's like a Zonai researcher in this game, but he does not know what he's talking about when you talk to him about all this Zonai research. He's just making stuff up. He's talking out his ass all the time. He's talking with his ego.
And he sounds like an expert, and it's awesome. I love it. And we'll just believe him. I'm like, why?
So there are definitely times where when Ganondorf
works.
says like, oh, there's no more Zonai around or whatever, it's too bad. He's being all coy in that scene. Just because Ganondorf might just be making an assumption based on the knowledge he has.
Can I say something really quick? During that scene with Rauru just like listening to Ganondorf just say, oh, and you've taken a Hyrulean woman, and you and your sister are the only ones here. Bro, him talking all that shit, I want to throw his ass in the dungeon for saying that.
It was pretty prejudiced.
He's out of line. Why, bro?
He's out of line.
Yeah.
HMK gets it. I 100% agree.
I love Ganondorf, but I was getting heated hearing him say that shit. Like to the king, bro.
He was talking about his wife.
All of that entire speech was like out of pocket.
Yeah.
Also, he was staring.
It was entire.
It was so out of pocket. Like, oh my god.
So is nobody hearing the tension? Nobody hearing the sarcasm? Am I the only one hearing this? Am I misinterpreting this?
No. But even Rauru knows what is going on because Zelda's like, I don't trust this guy, and Raru's like, yeah, duh. Like, no shit.
Join the club.
That you never let the enemy leave. You do what Gay said. Put him in the dungeon.
Yeah, exactly.
10,000 noodles. Here's the difference. Hylian is the ethnicity. Hyrulean is the citizenship.
There you go.
Nintendo said that multiple times. That's
interesting.
Yeah. That's
I thought about that.
That is true.
That's why it's like when we talk about like this war pre-Ocarina of Time, it's the Hyrulean Civil War because it involved many races within Hyrule. Not
Can we
not the
please
Hyrulean
laugh at
Civil
Nate
War.
real quick?
Just yes, I'm
I just
always
wanna
willing to
laugh.
Look, I'm
Okay.
going for number 2.
Bro, hand it over.
Nate,
Yeah.
Nate,
If I can
Nate,
pour it
don't
across
do
He just put
The
the
internet, I
straw
would.
in it. He just put
I
the
thought-
damn
no,
straw in the
I
pitcher.
just didn't have to set it there.
Nate, this is number 2 for me. Don't do it, bro.
Number 2.
Bruh.
And this it was whiskey. This
Come join us, Andres. Come
Oh,
join
this is
us.
strong. It's real.
It is very real. He just didn't put
Yeah.
the strawberries in it, but that's okay. It's still just
I didn't have
that doesn't
time.
change how
I
strong
had
it
to-
is.
I had to freeze the strawberry. Like,
You know what's
what's
funny?
gonna happen?
I'm not giving y'all no more ideas. I take full
I-
responsibility.
It's this thing is when Prime sent me
When you
the
see
list
this
of
on the rest of
ingredients,
my stream for the next week, you know what's up.
when I saw the list of ingredients, like okay, tequila, all right, limeade, all right, cool, frozen strawberries. Man, I'm not getting this. It was a lot. It was just a lot.
All you had
The
to do was
strawberries
freeze
were
some
optional.
strawberries.
The strawberries were optional though.
I had filthy
Yeah.
cherries. So
That's
Put cherries in.
you're good. You're perfect. You're perfect.
Sometimes you just do what you do. It's jungle juice. You just put
And
what you got
also,
in.
this is really sweet. This is more like dessert. So not everybody's into super sweet. Anyway, okay.
It's
So
just
we're
a
talking
stupid
about
drunk.
Link. I just wanted to laugh at Nate for a few minutes because I just saw the whole blender and
Absolutely.
I just needed everybody to laugh with me. But I have
Yeah, right.
there were other things I did notice. You know, kind of some of this subliminal stuff. I kind of like that this was the story of Zelda, in a way. In a way.
Oh,
She was more important now than Breath of the in terms of like being active with the
Facts.
story. Like she was a lot
Yeah.
more active. I mean, she was literally
Yeah.
part of the final boss fight. She
Yeah.
was a
Destiny.
pivotal
Hello?
character.
Hell
She
yeah.
was
The dragon.
great. It was
We can
co-op,
hear you, HMK.
kinda.
yeah, but my mic keeps on saying like, "Hey, you're at." Why is it? What the?
It does
Yes,
sound
is
like
there-
you're now
Yeah.
in a different.
Oh, it has adjust microphone. Man,
Oh,
get
do you
this out of
adjust
here.
the
Been
game?
drinking.
It sounds
You've been
good
drinking.
now.
Leave him be.
No, it said like I forgot to take off the thing that says automatically adjust mic file, and I'm like, no,
Oh.
no. What are you
HMK
doing?
is live from space, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you spill
We're
a drink
glad to
on
have
it? It
him.
keeps turning on.
Yeah, really.
Man, I don't know, bro. Technology's weird.
I'm glad
Yeah,
that
I have that
Zelda
exact
finally
microphone too over
Yeah.
on my.
I
I'm
want to
glad
go
that
back to
Zelda
the
finally got parents in a sense. I mean,
Yeah,
she has
because
parents.
her
like
dad
Sonya
sucked.
was a mother
Yep.
figure, Raru was a father figure. That was
She
amazing.
she
And
needed that.
in that scene where
Man.
they're drinking tea and she's like starts gushing about Link, which is so adorable. It was such a mom and dad answer.
The guy talk.
Yeah.
And Raru was like,
Mhm.
Link, that's not a name I've heard before. That's exactly what my dad says.
But can we talk about how Tears of the Kingdom is literally like one of the saddest Zelda games ever? Like
Oh, totally.
Facts.
Zelda went through 3
I was about
mother
to bring that
figures
up.
in her lifetime. 3.
Yup.
She
Yeah.
also,
All I
as
know-
the dragon, had to
And lost
relive
every
through the
single one.
calamity.
All I
Yep.
know is before I knew the end, and I saw that torch on the ground.
Oh yeah, that was. I didn't catch that at first.
I
So
almost
cool.
cried.
Yeah.
Well, no,
That
sorry,
was a
I
really
did
cool
cry.
touch.
Again, chat's gonna hold me to it. I was live streaming. I cried. I'm
it's-
like, oh, because at that point, I didn't know she was coming back. Like, I knew she was alive as a dragon, obviously, but I was like, yeah, but she's not gonna, you know.
That's
Yeah.
the thing is you
those
don't
other
know.
dragons, those
You
other
don't know
dragons
if
are
she's gonna
flying
come
around.
back.
They didn't get to come back as something, so why would she get to come back? So I'm like,
Exactly.
so I'm just like, and this will be, and I didn't know about the dragon fight at the end or whatever. So I was just like, man, this might be like the last remnant I see of Zelda ever, besides a random dragon flying in the sky. So it was just like and it's a callback to the last time that Link and her were actually physically together. And it's like, oh
Mhm.
man,
No.
you
I
got
will
me,
say that
Nintendo.
this game-
You got me with that.
This game does like a way better job of actually like enlisting me to care about Zelda as a character because like I have historically not been a Zelda shipper. I would say like, okay, a Skyward Sword I can accept it's canon, but like, yeah, I don't really care about it that much. You know,
Sure.
like this is the first Zelda game that has actually
Kick
made
him
a
off the
Zelda
podcast.
shipper out of me.
But also, I think one thing that does help this game is that we've already had this Zelda for a whole game.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
there was another layer to,
More
because like if you think about it, we don't spend hardly any time with why do we care about what Zelda's doing in the past? It's because of everything that already happened. Like we already had an adventure with her, sort of, or at least relived our former adventures with her and dealt with what she did in sacrificing 100 years of her life to bring me back because I tried to save her and I got my fucking ass kicked.
Yeah.
So
That was a great
so
scene.
then that awakens her power because she's just fucking pissed, which of course she is. You kill my man. Because we already know at that point it was in her diary. She fucking loves him. So you kill my
Zelda
man.
said-
That awakens the power.
Zelda said, "Not with my man, you ain't."
Yeah.
That's how we say
we
that in
already
Southern
saw this,
language.
all that where it's like, it wasn't that great of a story. You know what? Breath of the Wild was a perfect story in my book because the way it played out in Tears of the Kingdom, really how emotionally attached I was, showed that what they did in Breath of the Wild worked. And we just didn't fully understand it until we saw the end of the supposed journey these two are on.
Mhm.
Now, I always argue this fact where people are like, Breath of the Wild had a bad story. Like, no, it had a great story. It had bad presentation. That's what a lot of people can't really separate.
We're on
It's
the same page.
Huh?
We're on the same page.
Oh,
I
okay.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like,
Mhm.
the way it was like, presented and the way how people digested it, it was like, sure, Tears of the Kingdom does it a very similar route, but I feel Tears of the Kingdom does it better because we're not getting context to what happened, what happened while Link was there. We're getting context of like, okay, how are we gonna figure out to beat this? How are we gonna figure out to beat Ganondorf? Like, what do we need? What do we need to do? And where's Zelda? Right? It's like unlocking the mystery of what's happening in real time rather than discovering what happened to you and your own memories. So
I did not mix that well enough. It is still mostly booze in this cup.
You doing okay?
It's even worse than the first one.
Doing okay
It's
there?
even worse than the first one that the blender mixed it.
I'm very happy with Tears of the Kingdom. I think you bring up great points. Like I think the story, they did a better job of telling it. Even though there's memories, it feels more present because while it is memories, it's events that are occurring that are relevant to the ongoing story in the present, right? And there's more characters that you kind of interact with that have a little bit more personality. I think they did a lot in Tears of the Kingdom that really kind of appealed to prior Zelda fans, and while still maintaining that open air formula. So I was really, I just feel like Tears of the Kingdom did pretty much everything right, save for maybe like the 7 million imprisoning war stories that were basically the same.
Secret Stone?
And telling us about
Demon
dragons way too early.
Yeah.
Because everybody would question who the fourth dragon was before the game released because we saw different pieces of it.
Sure.
And we were like, is this Naedra or is this a different dragon?
Right, because like from a distance, I'm like, yeah, that's Naedra, but
but I can't tell.
I thought it was
then-
Rauru.
And then when we got in the game,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, there's just a fourth
That's a
dragon.
fair theory.
And then what was it, like third or fourth memory? It's like,
The
oh,
third
there's
memory.
draconification. And I'm like, why you tell us now?
As
was
soon
so
as
odd,
they
it became the-
mentioned
yeah.
that, like, oh, if you eat the secret stone, I was like,
Yeah,
So
why
she's
would
gonna
Minoru
eat the
bring that
stone,
up?
isn't
Here's
she?
the thing.
Here's the thing. My brain brainwashed me to like, hey, no, right? So luckily, it still hit me when like it happened. But the thing is, when like Minoru was talking about draconification, I'm like, okay, that means to become a dragon. But I mean, like, I was going along the lines of like, okay, the Zone are already, very dragon-like. And I only got this cutscene until after I was hearing stories around the world of Zelda acting weird, right? So I was going in the lane that like, oh, she got her stone, she's definitely gonna eat the stone. She's gonna go through draconification. But in that sense, it's like, oh, she still retains her appearance, but then loses her sense of self. It's like, hey, it looks like Zelda, but it ain't acting like Zelda. It's like, oh, that's probably like the secret stone. But then after I got the cutscene where Sonya got the whole razzmatazz, like, oh, that's puppet Zelda. It's puppet Zelda. Right. So
Yeah.
I did like how, I know this is a little bit off track of the story, but I so enjoyed the Yiga clan this time. Even though they're still
so
easy, they take 2 hits, but I love
They're fun.
Master Koga. I was like,
They're fun.
glory to
Yeah.
Master Koga. He was amazing.
Yeah,
I'm like, you're
more
still a
boss fights.
joke. But
yeah,
I
their involvement was definitely better in this game, and I like that. The only reason Koga's even down there in the depths is because we knocked his ass down there in the last game.
yes.
I was just like,
Yes!
that makes so much sense.
That's such
so
a
great.
cool.
can we talk about how much of a bop his boss fight theme is?
It's so
Oh,
good.
yes!
It's
Very
so
good.
good. It's so
I'm like,
very
I'm
good.
listening to this. I'm like, yo, am I playing Tekken right now? Like, this is
It's
nice.
It's
like,
awesome.
Nice.
It's great.
oh my
It is
goodness.
great.
I want
So
to
the
ask
thing
y'all a
is-
question. Oh, wait, go ahead.
Let's
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Oh,
I was
go.
just gonna say, what I liked about Master Koga this time is like you're crazy. You're kind of a joke boss in a sense, but I believe you. I think you really think that
Yeah.
you're gonna win or you're helping. Like,
He has
and
an
I kind of want to
irrational confidence
go
in what
back
he's
to him.
doing that makes no sense to anyone but him.
And I like
I
to
kinda
believe that Ganondorf has no idea. Like, you're just
Yeah,
he either is unaware or doesn't
what
care.
you're doing, Master Koga. You're
Yeah.
irrelevant to him.
They're
I
ants.
would love
They're
to go back
ants.
to Master Koga and
Yeah,
say,
they're
Ganon
dude,
don't even know
when
you.
I'm summoning back Lionels and like you ain't shit.
Yeah.
It's
You
like-
ain't
it's
very
like-
good.
I know, right?
In even in one of the Yiga diaries, it says that like the monsters in the depths will attack the Yiga clan members
Yeah.
that are down there. Like there is no alliance happening.
Yeah.
No.
It's like that
They
You
just
don't-
get
from,
messed
from
up, too.
Well, he
Endgame.
built this ultimate machine. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
he's whatever you're about to build. Hit him
He
a
don't care.
joke, and let me just this.
So speaking of Ganondorf, I want to ask y'all all around the table really quick. So how we feel about the laugh? Like,
Oh.
Oh my god,
like,
that
because
scene was
I-
so
Oh,
funny.
it
where
honestly
like
is
he
in
goes
context,
full,
it's a
full
moment.
anime character.
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Context?
I'm
So funny.
telling you, I loved it. I
It was
absolutely loved
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
People were like, "Oh, he looks so memey, and he looks like a troll face." And I'm like, "No, that's straight up anime laugh. Like whoever like did that was watching a lot of like the crazy anime like laughs in him."
Mm.
And my favorite part about that, by the way, Matt Mercer killed it as Ganondorf. In the
Oh,
movie.
He
yeah.
did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
My favorite part about that laugh is that like it's not a mad laugh because you know how Ganondorf's like and his like mad eyebrows.
Yeah.
Like his
Yeah,
brow
after a time
actually
being
goes
in.
up, so he's
Yeah.
like legit happy. He's,
He's
not
like,
like,
yeah.
He
That's
thinks-
that's
he thinks
he
he's gonna
knows-
win this
He
time.
knows
Yeah.
he's won.
Yeah.
he's like,
You're a
it's like,
fucking
yo,
idiot.
I
Done.
did it, word. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, no, that is exactly why I think it works, and that is because it just shows this moment of like he's been cool and collected and calm this whole time,
Yeah.
and now we just see
Calculated
that
all,
underneath all of that he is unhinged, like he is
Yes.
he is off his rocker.
He's a menace
Nuts.
to society.
Yes, exactly, and he
really
that
is.
he's not just
He's a brilliant
not
madman that's quite literally
Yeah.
a madman.
He's not
underneath it
just
all.
like on a path to like meet his goals or whatever. He's taking joy in killing
Yes.
people as well. Like
So-
he finds that shit fun.
the craziest part about that scene was amazing. I think that's like one of my favorite memories in the game, where like he kills Sonya, and then Zelda, like you know how in anime or in video games, when characters are distressed, their pupils get like a lot smaller, right? Like you see those pupils get smaller, and she's worried. And the thing that hits me the most is that, like, as she's trying to wake Sonya up, she looks back at Ganondorf while he's just there, just like laughing his fucking head off. And I'm like, damn, this.
I want to
I love
mention
it.
that the facial
the thing of-
animations in this game are so much more expressive and detailed
They
than they
are.
were in Breath of the Wild.
Top
And
of
it
Zelda,
really helps to
amazing.
sell all of
Even
those
Link's.
different emotional things. Like when in the memory right after Sonya dies, when you see Ganondorf like powering up, Zelda doesn't have to say a word. You can see the
horror in her
fear
face.
on her face
Mhm.
of how she is terrified of this man. And I'm just like, thank you.
Yeah.
Even Link's facial animations are like way better in this game. Like he
Mhm.
you get that final memory, and then Link comes out of the memory, and the dude just looks gutted, and people are like, Link
Yeah.
has no personality, whatever. I'm like, no, it's nuanced, it's subtle, it's
Yeah.
not exaggerated, but like sometimes less is more, and just the way that he looks good, or in the final battle, just the sheer look of determination on his face, like I
Yep.
found that very powerful.
There are some memories that it comes out, and it's literally it comes out and it zooms out on Link's face, and I was paying really close attention to some of the more emotional moments, like if it's a realization for me, it's a big time realization for this motherfucker, and
Yeah.
like you could just see like a subtle emotions. I don't know, like I'm the guy. They said I'm the guy. I gotta hold my shit together.
Mhm.
He's literally that guy.
Holy, I like
But my girlfriend just died.
he's just fucking ripping apart
Yeah.
inside. Like he's just like, no, she did this all for me, but I gotta hold it because
It's
if
like,
I fall apart now, she did it for nothing. So it's like
Now imagine
it's like
taking
an
all that
internal
nuance
turmoil a little bit.
and put that on top of like when Link has to go and find the Yiga clan who are disguised as Zelda. Like that's gotta hurt. That's gotta suck.
Oh.
All the
Mhm.
castle moments, how she's like beckoning towards him, like that is some
And the way
really
she talks to him in the
severe
That is
Like,
some
man,
psychotic ass shit.
Also, yeah, that's like weird. Like, can you imagine?
really is.
Oh, that's my girl, and then it's actually creepy Demon King Ganondorf.
He got
like,
catfished.
Yeah, or like the puppet when she's like deactivating.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
oh.
Yeah.
You know what? And of course, it reminds me of Twilight Princess, which I'm sure reminded everybody. But I thought it was much creepier when it goes into the cutscene. It's like, remember the way we used to be?
Yeah,
Like the way
yeah.
that we used to hang
This has
out
actual emotion and character development behind it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just.
No,
it's
have you
so
ever
much
met a
fun.
crazy bitch like that?
No, I mean,
I pray that y'all
Thankfully
don't.
not.
I think Andre's the only one that's not married, so I'm gonna pray for you, boy.
I'm not.
I'm gonna pray. I got you. You don't want somebody like that. That's the part that freaked me out. I kind of felt like Hyrule Castle. Okay, from a gameplay perspective, it kind of lost the ability to kind of make it almost like a classic dungeon. But the cutscene and then the big battle that you have afterwards, and all the heroes showing up.
it was just a giant
That
mind
was-
effery. That whole trip was just about effing with Link's mind.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it was.
It was. Yeah.
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 Can we
Even though
talk
I wish
about-
I had found a key somewhere to unlock a door.
Yeah.
I kind of missed that a little bit.
Mhm.
Just a little bit.
I kind of missed that a little bit.
Can,
A little
can
bit.
we talk about just how much of a technical showcase Tears of the Kingdom is?
Oh,
Sure.
Like maybe
Oh my
on
gosh.
the
Oh.
surface, some might think that the graphics aren't substantially better than Breath of the Wild, but if you look
They are.
carefully,
They
there's
are.
more draw distance, there's more enemies on screen, there's more mechanics going on, and the textures are actually
The
better.
draw distance with
Yeah.
all the mechanics alone just lets you know, like,
Yeah. But
that's
here's
so
the-
far beyond.
here's the
what
crazy
you can
part.
do.
You can do all these builds, Ultra Hand. You can literally attach 20 things at a time. They can do different things and then still drop items. And you can have 5 sages out with you at a time, fighting an entire other a small army. But you can have an actual battle alongside several other NPCs. There can be like 40 characters on screen fighting each other with all of your builds going on at the same time. And the game, while there probably will be some frame drops,
There's
it
a
still
few in
plays.
those instances.
It
Yeah.
still plays.
It
It's
depends
still
on where you're at.
playable. Totally
And
playable.
That's just totally
It's so
insane.
playable.
Mhm.
With-
The thing
with
about
also a
that I like-
semi-destructible environment on top of that.
Yeah.
The thing I love about that though, and the theme for this game is like, when they kept saying you are not alone, I know that wasn't necessarily directed towards Link, but it was directed towards Link at the same
Totally.
time. Everybody in the game, from NPCs to people in different towns, people are not just sitting around waiting for destruction or waiting for, the hero to come save them. They are doing research. They're working. They're like, hey, I don't know how to fight, but I know how to cook, so I'll feed the army.
Dude,
They're practicing at the Sky Tower lookout landing area. Everybody is doing something, and I love that. It's like, if
It's
we're gonna go
believable.
down, we're
Yeah.
gonna go down swinging. I
And it-
love that.
and it all culminates like when we have the wave of enemies right before the final fight, and your friends show up for you.
Mhm.
At your,
Tulin,
like,
Tulin
That's
is just
such
the
a
greatest
cool-
time of
best
need.
nephew.
Best
You,
yeah.
you've been
that's
on this
such a
journey alone.
cool-
You just had your mind effed with. No one was with you on this journey. You have whole armies being summoned to kick your ass. And I'm sitting there wondering, like, this is the most amount of enemies I fought at once. They legitimately might kick my ass. And this is before I realized I could kill them pretty easy. But in the moment, you're just like, holy shit! He
You're
sent like
scared.
20. He sent
I had
20
all
motherfuckers
silver.
at me. I can't dodge all 20. This is going to be
I
a
had
problem.
all silver. Did you guys have all silver bokoblins and moblins and all them folks?
I do.
Yeah,
I had a
lot.
I had a bunch of silver ones. I was like, I can't get like 5 red ones so I can kill with like one hit.
But when
Yeah, we can't
the
tell
real
what-
ones showed up, and I'm like, I
That was
honestly
cool.
didn't expect it.
Because
I
you
thought- I
lost
thought
all
we
your
had the sage
sages when you
abilities.
got down there.
Because we had the sage abilities. I'm like, oh, they're not. This is just they don't have to be here, right? Because we already sort of have them here as avatars. But then, like from an emotional standpoint, no, we're not avatars anymore.
Mhm.
We're
We're
the real
here.
fucking deal. Hyrule's on the line. We are here for you.
Did you guys know that if you like speed run it and you
That
go
was
down there
great.
before like
I was
you
about
beat
to
any
bring
of
that
the
up.
bosses, that you have to do basically a boss rush of every
Yeah.
boss in the
Same
game.
as
I
That's
assumed
so
it.
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
It's so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
And you have
Also
to fight
ridiculously hard.
multiple
Way harder than Breath of the
multiple
Wild.
Phantom Ganons.
Mhm.
It's just
And yep.
unfair. It's just crazy.
Are they different
Yeah, they
types?
saw speedrunners and they said, "Fucking bet, good luck."
Because you had to fight the one from Hyrule Castle, and I'm pretty sure you have to fight the one from the Great Dick Retreat too. That's
You mean
they're part of the
That's
boss rush.
crazy.
You mean the Spirit Temple?
And
No.
there's a spiritual
Yeah.
boss as well.
The
Oh,
Spirit
yeah.
Temple one. too,
Yeah, the
Yeah, you
Mac-
have to fight
That's
every
insane.
single
I have
all-
like 10 physical copies of Breath of whatever we're talking about. Tears of the Kingdom. I am going to so try that because my digital one that's my real one. I'm gonna try that now.
Your main, yeah.
My main.
To piggyback off of like them coming in, like the sages coming in during the final fight, I got a little emotional in the castle when Ganon's like, you know what? Fine, I'm gonna do this again, and he throws it at you, and Link like puts his arms up because he's like bracing himself to just lose another arm.
Yeah,
or
he's like,
lose the
oh
new
shit.
arm.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
oh, we're doing
Because
this
he didn't know it was
again.
gonna work. He's like, oh shit.
And then the
Yeah.
sages show up, and Sidon's like, "We're
That
here for
was
you,
very
Link.
cool.
We got your back this
Oh.
time."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Let's go!"
Yeah.
Yes.
Tulin, best little brother, best nephew,
best
best-
age.
Such a
baby.
good move.
Best age.
He follows. He really acts like Link's little nephew or something. Like, you know, especially once you power him up and you go around on your regular travels.
Just sniping people left and right.
He
Yeah. Oh my
knows
god.
his enemies
Yeah, he's
before
definitely the
you
best
do.
sage.
Yes,
Mhm.
I love him.
100%.
I so love
yeah,
him.
He's ability wise and also character wise. He's my favorite. Well, Sidon is a close second, if not first, but otherwise, Tulin's the best. Tulin's
Sidon-
best.
Sidon is like
Character-wise?
forever loyal.
Top tier.
Yeah.
Ability
You
wise,
say that. Can we talk about how freaking Nintendo saw all the Link and Sidon shippers and we're like, hey, let's give him a fiance.
You know what? I'm
But they also
right
did
now.
the statue. They also
Yeah.
did
They did.
Yeah,
do
they
this
also
statue.
did, so
gave
they
us
like
that.
paid homage to you, simpers, but that's not the story.
Yeah, but you're a thing of the past. He's grown up now. He's moved on. He's
It
got
works
his
though.
thing.
I mean, it's great
It
for
does.
Sidon to have someone who is like supportive of him and
Right.
like really gasses him up. And,
Yonai's
you know,
great.
I
We
like
talked
Yona.
about
And
how
it's also
the
nice
Lord
showing
messed
like
she deserves the hate she gets on the internet. I'll be honest.
No, she doesn't.
I-
It's just
She doesn't.
people
No,
jealous.
she absolutely doesn't.
It's
I
just
just think she's
jealousy.
ugly.
one thing I
That's
like
fair.
about-
Absolutely
because
true.
she's a fish.
Huh?
yeah.
No, because of the head shape, and it doesn't help that her head is shaped
She
like
does
the dude.
look like
Like-
Muzu.
Yeah.
Muzu.
Maybe
Exactly, the
Sidon's into
racist
that.
from the first game. Like, it
know.
doesn't
Yeah.
help that, like, you know.
no shame.
So I'm not gonna fault
But-
you for finding a fish not attractive.
But one thing I no, so
Mifa was
I
a cutie
think
though.
Nah, me
I think what was really neat about
Rutu,
that
yeah.
The Zelda
relationship.
community is the only community online where you will get attacked for not being sexually attracted to a fish.
Yeah.
That's-
So when people were shipping it,
Yes.
I kept telling myself back when they were shipping it in Breath of the Wild that I sat there, I'm like, yeah, but like, have you ever had like a really close best friend that you love that dude?
That's
You'll
what
do
I'm saying.
anything for
really
him, but you're
close
not
friend who's like
you're
a
not
brother to
interested
you.
in him in that way. But like
Mm.
it's as tight as a bromance can get, or as tight as
The
a
thing
a-
is,
a
definitely-
female group. Or
Sidon is hot.
it's
That's
not-
why.
but I
Sidon
know,
is
and
hot.
so is Link.
I mean, yeah,
but, like,
everyone
hot people can be
hunky
best
man,
friends. It's
tell
all
them that
right.
they
Like,
believe in them. It's okay.
They suffer the
Listen.
same problem. Girls are
But
throwing
here's-
themselves
and
at
Tears of the
that
Kingdom
actor.
just sort of like reaffirmed that, like, no, this is just one of those bromances that if you've ever had one, you know. And if you know,
Here's-
you know.
Here's the thing. This is what confuses me about the internet. Sidon is the dude that we all swear that we like. He's open with his feelings. He doesn't care. He wants to give Link a big hug. You're my bestest friend ever. There's a whole freaking statue in Zora's Domain now dedicated to Link and Sidon. But Sidon's like, but wait, let me introduce you to my wife or my future wife. You
He's
see
like,
what I'm
"Hey."
saying?
But he's like
And-
excited about it too.
And I'm like,
Bro,
nobody
my
has put
fiance, isn't that
together.
wild?
Nobody's put together that Link has a thing for Zelda, and in majority of games he does. And the only exception I would say, well, there's a few exceptions, but one of
Twilight
the main
Princess.
exceptions is Twilight Princess. That was a total
Yeah.
business transaction.
Oh yeah.
That was.
He had a girlfriend. He had a girlfriend back
Oh.
home
Yeah.
who
I would-
only half-ass remembered him for
I
different
would
By the
argue-
way, if you this is super niche. If you read the Twilight Princess manga,
manga!
that point
The manga!
is absolutely nailed him.
Yeah.
Oh, but
Oh.
guess who kissed in the manga though?
Stop. Don't mention it. I
Why
don't wanna
not?
talk about. I don't want to
Spoiler
talk about it.
cast.
Yeah,
I
spoiler.
have the
I don't
manga
wanna
in
talk
there. Go
about
for
No,
it.
no. In the finale, in the finale of
This
the
is a spoiler
Twilight
cast.
Princess
The
manga. Yeah,
manga.
yo, like so Link and Minna kiss. Like they're
We win,
eating
baby,
they're,
we win. Let's
they're
ship it.
yo, they're eating their face off and shit. I'm like, bro.
Oh wait, they go that hard?
No. But I
No,
mean,
it's not that
it's
hard.
very like
It's hard
I
for
knew what he was gonna
Nintendo.
say, and I'm like, it's they
So-
don't go hard, but it's very
it's like
happens.
it's when
They
Minna.
won, boys.
It's
We did it.
passionate.
it's what
It's
like,
very there you go.
it's
It's
what people
passionate.
might imagine maybe could have happened if
Oh,
the
I
wheel
gotta
wasn't
ask this
correct.
question.
here for
because
it.
you know how sometimes I and L look the same depending on the font. Is it
Yeah.
Ilia or is it Leah?
Ilia.
Ilia. It's Ilia.
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 It's
Okay.
Ilia.
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 Yeah.
Oh, Ilia from Twilight.
It's
Okay.
not
okay,
Tears
gotcha.
of the Kingdom related, but Ilia and Link, I ship it. I get behind it.
I mean,
I think
yeah.
They
they're
have a
wrong.
thing.
No. See, I thought it for a moment.
Midna left, and Zelda and him have a business transaction.
No, but
Who
you know,
else was he gonna go home to?
no.
But it's the childhood best friend.
The
He
woman
didn't
at the
go-
tavern.
He didn't go home to her. He
But in
left.
Hyrule Historia, page 117, bottom left paragraph, Mr.
He
Miyamoto
retired to
says,
Telma. Just let it be.
Mr. Miyamoto says that he went back to Ordon and became page 117 cap.
Summon it.
Yeah. Page 117.
Let's go.
That's fine.
Dang.
Or is it one? Or is it
Well, Telma back
127?
with him.
Now,
I don't know, we're about
What's
to
the
find
page?
out.
What's the
What's the
page?
page? What's the page?
Is it 117 or 127? It's one or the other.
Okay, it's
Just the way
117 or
she had that
127.
memorized.
Yeah, if she
I
has
don't
that,
think dude, I've been
down,
shipping
that's
this shit
awesome.
forever.
That's
What am I looking
awesome.
for?
The way I will die on this hill.
Traces of the Hero of Time. No, that's not it. All right, Ganondorf fully resurrected. The Resistance. All right, then.
So it's probably the other.
127 maybe.
Is it 127? Hold on, I'm gonna go get mine. I have it marked.
Yeah, go get yours.
Everyone
Alright,
get your
I can't find this.
Historias out. Everyone go
Yeah.
get them.
Right.
It's not here.
I want the digital copy, so
All right. Link, the Descendant of the Hero of Time.
Mine's a digital copy on the Wii U of all
I need to
things.
get the physical copy. I don't know why I haven't got it
Oh,
yet. the
you want to know
physical
what's
copy.
weird?
Oh, I have it right here. 118. It says Link returned the Master Sword to the forest and went back to Ordon Village. Yeah, he did, and then he left.
But where does it say he left?
No, it shows
No,
he
it
left
shows
at the
you
end
in
of
the
the
credits.
game.
It
In the
shows you in
credits.
But wait,
credits.
I thought it said that he became a sheriff. Mr. Miyamoto said he became a sheriff. Hold on, I'll find it. I'll find it.
Yo, find that. Whoa.
That'd
Find
be
that.
sweet.
A
Gotta
sheriff.
dig up the
A
Miyamoto.
sheriff.
Well, they-
Can we
well,
get
they-
Miyamoto
No,
on
he
the
definitely
podcast
took
right now?
Telma.
The
He definitely took Telma. You're doing a sheriff. You need to come
Nate.
home to a big stocky woman. Come on,
Nate,
now.
while I had this pulled up from when we were talking about the technical prowess. While they search for that, can you show? I would like to share my screen and show a cool clip of some cool contraptions you can build in this game.
Yeah. I
Oh
can-
Oh
I
my
can- I can
god,
really show
please
it.
show that.
Has everyone
Yeah.
here seen that like fully walking mech that was made like 2
Yes.
weeks ago?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Amazing.
Where are we
Oh,
going to be
amazing.
6 years from now?
Oh,
on the
dude,
launch
people are
of the
gonna come
next
up with
game?
things.
Well,
All
I
right.
bet.
I
I
swear.
bet the DLC
So-
will make it crazier.
I did this on my live stream. I made a homing missile.
Oh Lord.
What?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
There
that's not
goes
this.
my hero. Whoa!
Wow.
Isn't that cool? Isn't
You
that
can
so
see- you-
freaking
How
cool?
did it target?
You attach the targeting head
Wow.
to it, right?
Yes.
Oh,
You put a rocket
okay,
on
okay,
that
the
one,
targeting
and then
head.
the rocket activates when it sees a bad guy. Yeah.
My man just
And then you just
casually committing war crimes.
Yeah, it was
I
I
swear,
swear. I
this
titled the stream.
game-
I said we're committing war
I want to
crimes.
make sure I understand how you did it. So how does the second rocket not?
Okay, hang on. Let me. I'll pull back up. Sorry, I thought we'd be done.
This
with it.
game is
like a
just
No,
the
rocket
it's
way-
not- we're
bomb,
like, I don't know how the second rocket didn't go off until it saw someone. That's what I'm.
So if you put it on, okay, so you can kind of see it here. So below, it's in the grass. There's one of those spikes, right? Like the ones you can kind of like
Stakes,
stick in.
yeah,
the
one of the
ground.
stakes that hold it. Yeah,
Got
Stakes,
it.
that's yeah. On that, you attach 4 bomb flowers, and then above that, you attach a stabilizer, and then on the
Sure.
back of that, you put a rocket, and that's
Sure,
like
sure.
the initial.
I get
launching
that
rocket.
part. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you put something attached, so this is like a little what are they called? The things
The
that
homing
just
head,
they
yeah.
The homing
homing
heads or
thing.
whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So they
Yeah.
don't whatever is attached to that doesn't activate until it sees an enemy. It's like when you attach
Oh.
it's
Oh,
like
because the flamethrower doesn't go off if you
Exactly,
attach. Yeah,
yes.
gotcha.
correct.
Okay.
So that one doesn't so that rocket is attached to this, it doesn't activate. This launches, it sees the other enemy, it locks onto that enemy, and then that rocket activates and shoots it into the so it's not 100% homing, but it
It's
corrects
homing
itself
enough.
Nah,
It's
no,
homing
that
enough.
that
When it
is
sees an
100%.
enemy, it goes.
That is
better
100%
than-
homing.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Yeah.
heck?
It's homing
Yeah.
plus because it launches off into the distance, finds the target, and then homes.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Even better.
That's
The only
excellent homing.
downside is if you get too far away from it, it'll like deactivate itself. It sometimes like if it launches too far away from you because you know that it does.
Oh
that,
yeah,
like,
the
very
distance. The
range.
distance.
So
on the
you have to be
batteries.
somewhat close to your target still to do it. But
Still.
yeah, that's probably the maximum amount of distance you could get it to.
That's
while
pretty
still
bad.
running.
Dude, there's so many Imagine
There's
what
so
people
many
are going to be
things.
doing
I've seen
in
people
6
doing
years.
mech bots.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen. That's just one I did. I was like, I'm very proud of this.
I'm assuming
I
you
was-
saved that sucker to auto build.
Oh yeah, 100%.
better have,
Oh, yeah. I was going to be
I
like,
saw
that's
it
what I'd
work
be
out. I
busting
loved
out.
it. I was like,
That's
that's
amazing.
Especially if I'm
yeah.
streaming. Hey guys, you want to see something you've never seen another person pull off yet?
Mhm.
You know what's an
There you go.
update they need to do? Auto
Like a
build
free mode.
codes.
Yeah,
Auto
or
build
just
codes.
like
Oh, auto build codes would be so
I've been
sharing
waiting
auto
for that.
builds.
I've been waiting for that.
DLC.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, no.
paid.
While we're somewhat on the subject, this is a mild criticism of the game, if I may.
You take it back.
So, auto build, we can have like favorites, and that reduces
Yeah.
tedium. It's
Like
beautiful.
going through it,
It's
yeah.
great. It's great.
Right.
Why can we not have favorites for fusing arrows? If I've decided I'm going to try and fuse something for the first time, I got to go and sort and then just want to fuse it to an arrow, and I've never done it before. And now I've got to just like scroll for like 3 minutes straight.
Man, you better start using it a lot. Like,
Yeah. Otherwise, like for things that are
Isn't there
most
frequently
it's great.
used? You can use frequently used. It's kind of
can,
like favorites.
But if
Exactly.
it's your first time using
Yeah, that's
something,
what
you're going to
that's
be
what-
Yeah.
sitting
You
there
still got to use it a
scrolling.
lot before it'll pop up.
before,
Yeah.
Yeah.
please.
So
Neil-
It was
I feel
page
like-
118. Sorry. I
Yeah,
went and
no,
looked. I had to go
definitely-
hunt my book down. Like it's still partly in storage.
Oh. So was there
Alright.
more to it,
I
or
was
is it just that
Was
paragraph?
there more to
that
it? Like, did it say it was a sheriff or something?
That part was from a Miyamoto interview. So
Oh.
that's what I was cross-referencing. Y'all,
Let me see if I can find that
It's
interview.
crossbow
Find the
training.
interview.
His
Oh,
training
Let's see if
for
I
his-
can find that interview.
and in
The
the
rabbit
interview,
hole goes deeper.
and in the interview, he said, "I like to think that."
Oh.
Oh, that they end up together.
Oh,
No,
He's
I
a
like to.
shipper.
he's a
No.
shipping. He's shipping.
And also, Miyamoto didn't even write. He didn't even
He's part of the
direct.
problem.
He didn't do for Twilight Princess.
I will say
No,
this though.
He said
I will
he
say
liked
this.
to think that that Link went back to Ordon and became a sheriff. But the official Hyrule story says that Link went back to Ordon.
Yep.
That's what I based my script off of. Was really more of the interview.
Yeah. See that.
Okay.
I'm not finding
Man.
anything about a sheriff.
That's the thing about Miyamoto. Look, I love
Too
and
much margarita,
respect
I'll
the
be
guy. This is
lot
one
of
of his
interviews.
babies. He created this baby. So if he wants to come in right before he rides off into the sunset and he just wants to say, all you guys are wrong. Link is this, Link is that, this is that. And you know what? I will let him do it because it is his baby. As
That
much
is
as it
so
might piss me
wild.
off. As much as it might piss me off that you're just, I'm retconning all of how, you know what? You do what you want, man. It's your, this is your
true.
creation. You do what you
It
want,
is
man.
his.
Like you,
It is his baby.
I have that much respect that I can forego the decades of theories for whatever you say, man. It's
Listen.
just you've earned that. You've earned that from me
Pikmin 4
because
is great.
without you, we wouldn't be even having this podcast. So
Fair.
True.
But you brought up an interesting point that is totally not really related to this conversation. I mean, it's Zelda related, but like there has been a stirring, and it's not just from me. I'm not saying it's rumors, it's just like the speculation that what if Nintendo does remake Ocarina of Time? Isn't that the last game that Miyamoto was behind? Like, what if as one of
it
his
is also
last
the
things-
25th anniversary this year.
Well, I mean, it's not going to happen this year.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Nah, we don't know that.
Yeah, maybe a late, holiday release. I can
Yo,
see
give it-
They've been dropping stuff late.
We also
Give
don't know
it-
if the sun will rise tomorrow, but I bet it will.
Give it the Resident Evil treatment, please.
Yes,
That
and
would
like,
be
but like,
sick.
what if
Or just give us a
like,
3DS port. Like, I don't know. Just give even that was like enough
No, no, no,
graphics.
no.
Give it
Yeah.
the Final Fantasy VII.
So
But
fun
if you have it,
story.
crazy.
Only 2 Zelda games has Miyamoto actually directed.
and those
Now,
are
being
real.
a director matters. He's been a producer on a bunch,
Yes,
but being a director matters because director is the primary one that really
Does-
conceptualizes and puts
Calls
the
the
game
shots.
together.
Yeah, puts the shits together. Yeah.
And it was Legend of Zelda and then Ocarina of Time. That was it.
Yep.
so they took a
Facts.
break.
Well, he was still heavily involved, but he was.
Sure.
You got to remember, Miyamoto at that time also was like all those other new franchises. I mean, all the franchises he made were new, so like he was really spread across
Yeah.
a bunch of IPs. So he couldn't just make Zelda games because he's also handling Mario. He's also
Yeah.
And also, not trying to be shady here, but
handling
Miyamoto's
Donkey
the
Kong. And,
Miyamoto's the reason we didn't get Twilight Princess 2, and we got Link's crossbow training.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah, had to remind me.
yeah.
He's
we
also
love-
the reason
Oh,
we got
it's fantasy.
first-person adventure Metroid Prime, though.
I think I know why he didn't direct a bunch of Zelda games, because he actually was directing a lot of the Mario games for a long time.
Yeah.
He directed a lot of them, all the way up to Mario 64. He directed.
Y'all
all
saw
of
what
them.
I got from Japan?
What? I want to see.
What you get?
Uh-oh. You're about to make...
That
No!
Master Sword.
No, you did not!
I'm jealous.
I almost bought it online, but it was too much of a premium. It was too much of a premium.
That's
So I'm gonna send you
Oh.
my shipping address and
H2K, can you just get us all one?
Trigger. It was too much.
Yeah, I'll pay you.
To get it
I'll-
imported. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, we gotta pay him.
I knew.
Okay.
Whatever anyone
I'll
offers
Venmo you. I'll
I'll
Venmo you. I
triple it.
got you.
Whatever you want to do.
Well,
You
you
can
know,
you
find
accept
them
bank
online.
wire transfers.
They can be bought online, but they're sold
Yeah.
at a premium because they're imported.
Here, I'm gonna
Even-
DM you a number. You tell me.
even if I want to sell that, it was a gift from a friend. So like, there's no way I'm parting with that.
Makes sense.
Oh,
Ooh.
that's
Fair.
sweet.
that's fair.
That's a really competitive
Yeah,
offer.
that is really nice.
Let's talk about
Also-
Ganondorf.
Well, if you're ever
Please.
Thank you, Nick.
HMK, God willing that you're not on the deathbed before me, but if you are,
Wow!
I wouldn't mind if in the will that's left to me.
That sounds
Nate,
like a threat.
I will be at your
Right?
funeral. I promise.
Nate,
That sounds like
I-
a threat.
He'll
Jeez.
come
back
to you as a
hero.
Play some
Keep
Nintendo
your eye
Links.
open.
what did
The
I say
ninja
last
show
night?
Look, every few years, him and I are around the same event, so I'm not going to say things are going to happen. But I mean,
Wow! Nah, I'm staying home now.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute, Nate. What did I say?
Yeah.
What did I say last night? We gotta wait till Zelda 2030 so we can all do this again. Y'all can't die.
Okay. Speaking of that,
Why wait that long?
transition, future of Zelda.
I don't
What
want to
happens
transition
now?
to that.
Breath
It
of the
could be
Wild
any-
3, baby.
It could be anything. It really could go in any direction. There could be a new gimmick. We could honestly, we're such an high. The next one's got to be a bad one, right? Like it's got to be another Spirit Tracks
no.
or something.
No.
Whoa!
Spirit Tracks wasn't even a bad one,
Whoa,
so
whoa.
I mean,
You just got Spirit Tracks bad?
Whoa!
Wait a
Really?
second. Hold on.
It ain't
It
great.
ain't
Hold on. I got a
It ain't
button for
great.
this. I got a button for that. There we go.
Da, 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 da.
Wow.
Don't do
well-
that to my new
well,
best
Dude,
friend.
that's- That's a top 8 Zelda game for me. You don't mess with my Spirit Tracks.
Really?
Top 8.
game.
Let's not get.
I
Let's,
wouldn't
let's
rate it
not
that
get
highly,
into
but
Nate's
it's good.
rankings. Nate's rankings are going to trigger everyone.
No,
Let's
no,
not
no,
No, they're
All
good.
right,
It's just
all
it
right.
triggers an Ocarina
Wow,
of
I
Time
thought it
not
was
up there.
pretty
That's the other thing
universal.
that
Like
triggers
the
people.
the 3D or the what was it? No, it wasn't
The
3D.
DS
The
games.
DS ones are
All right,
both.
I will
great.
say this. I will say this. I like Spirit Tracks better than Phantom Hourglass.
yeah, I
Phantom
agree.
Hourglass
Yeah.
is trash. It's a gutter trash.
Okay.
Wow, well, hold on.
Then
now.
Bad game.
we're
Gutter
due
trash.
for a Phantom Hourglass. That's all I'm saying.
Gutter trash.
Phantom Hourglass is why I didn't play
So, all
Spirit
right.
Tracks.
Here's the thing.
I
I want to
never-
ask y'all.
Cat
Really,
Burgers is like,
In all my years,
Hold on.
I never.
I want to ask y'all really quick. What, in your opinion, is like? In my opinion, there is no bad Zelda. But what is the
Facts.
Triforce Heroes.
where's the least? What is the?
no, I love Triforce.
Link's
Okay, but
Awakening.
besides the obvious CDI.
Thank you. Wait.
Wait,
We
what did
don't
he
talk
say?
about the CDI game.
What did Nick say?
Oh
What did
my
he say?
God.
Link's Awakening.
Link's
I played through
Awakening.
that- I played through that on the Switch this year. I hated every second of it.
Man,
I
oh,
genuinely
out
did
of
not
like
like
the.
I did- I
what's
did
the
not
worst out
hate
of like
it.
the
I
main
liked
line?
it.
All right.
I enjoyed it a lot.
I didn't realize I was
I
gonna have
would
to use
say
this button
Spirit-
more than once.
Yeah,
today.
get him out of here. Get him both. Yeah, there. Not the scream as he
So,
left.
My
Wow.
least favorite Zelda
Oh, wow.
is
Look, that's what
is
everyone wants to
Phantom
do
Hourglass.
when I tell people where I rank Ocarina of Time. So
It's
that's
just-
I am.
Phantom
I just happen to
Hourglass
be in
is the
charge.
bottom.
Joyce, you're still
muted, Joyce.
You're muted.
I see her going off over there.
She's
and
like,
she's
"What?"
muted.
Who said that? My bad, y'all. I apologize. Who said that they hated every minute of Link's Awakening? I just want to talk.
Me, I didn't like it. It was
She just
boring.
wants 5 minutes.
Half
That's
the
it.
game
5
was
minutes.
a fetch quest for items that I needed, but it didn't explain where to get them.
Here's a
It
fun
was very
story. That's
confusing.
like every Zelda game pre Breath of the
No,
Wild is a
no,
fetch
I
quest
get
of
that.
getting
True.
items.
I like
Link's
no,
Awakening
okay.
is awesome.
I don't
I
like.
Five
All right,
like
see,
minutes.
look,
other
all right.
Zelda
I
games.
don't
though.
like the ending
It-
because it's very. At least
It was all
I
a
look at it like this. At least
dream.
Termina is still somewhere
So-
out there. I know Miyamoto said
Yeah.
it was a dream. I don't believe
No,
that.
Terminus by like
Termina's a place.
here's why I think Link's Awakening is my least favorite Zelda game, and that's not because of the fetch quest or anything like that. I've played all versions of this game, and I really don't see where everyone's fascination or mystique with this game is. It is a like at least like people's like, oh, it's charming. I'm like, is it though? And like
It
it's
is.
just it's a like it's a lesser version of A Link to the Past which also has some of the worst dungeon design in all of Zelda. Like, you're gonna tell me that Link's Awakening is in your top 5 when the game has Eagle Tower in it? And I'm like, excuse me?
I'm not that drunk.
Like,
I got us back in order.
Right?
I
Too
can
much to
meet
unpack
HMK
here.
halfway.
Right.
It's definitely like I think it's not awful, but I definitely
I don't think it's
like
awful,
my
but I don't think
favorite.
it's like, yeah. You were like,
I would say
top 5
it is.
Zelda.
I would say in terms of all the Zelda games, I would say it is a pretty air quotes mid experience. And I mean
hold
that
on.
in the nicest
Thank
way
you.
possible.
Are we just
I
gonna
gotta
gloss
defend
over
it.
that the man dragged a Link to the Past through the mud in this
No,
statement?
no, I
Me?
know.
I didn't think it was great.
I say Link's Awakening is a lesser version of A Link to the Past. That's why I don't think.
All right.
that-
all right.
No, I love it.
Well,
misjudged
I
you
think
there.
it's
Whoa, whoa,
because
whoa.
it's
I
a
was
great
like,
game.
hello,
But
like,
I was
did
ready.
say-
Brain
You
freeze.
did say you don't like all the dungeons.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
I was
Whoa.
I gotta defend it.
okay.
I gotta
We
defend
lost
it.
our moderator. And bro's dying over here.
I gotta defend
Yo,
it
you
though.
good there, Prime?
No, he didn't have one of my margaritas, honey. He fucked up. So look,
Oh my god.
sorry, that's unladylike. But look,
One's in
gonna
chat if you like the CDI games.
we
Sorry,
don't
continue.
talk about the CDI game.
Yo, okay, when are they porting the
Forbidden.
CDI games to Switch though?
That's
No,
what I
they're-
want. That's what I want to know.
We're getting spiritual successors.
Maybe that's the
Dave
next
is
like
literally
Zelda
dying right
thing
now.
that's coming out this year. Is they're just rebooting?
Okay,
the CDI
let's
games.
go ahead and kick Nick with no K from the chat.
I didn't say I wanted it. I just said maybe that's what they're
Okay.
gonna do.
Okay,
Oh
I
my
think
God.
this is
Why
actually,
would
like,
you want that for us? Don't you love us?
I think it would be fun.
Do we need to bust a tier list out like right now? Do we see?
I mean,
I think we do.
Tier list podcast.
Oh no.
Oh no, that's a future
We're not
show.
getting into that.
That's a whole
Future
other
show.
podcast.
That's like a whole podcast to do a
That's an
tier list
entire
for all.
show.
Yeah,
But
it
wait a
really
minute.
is.
Nate,
Wait a
That
minute.
would be fun.
Call me
That would be
out.
fun. You want to be
have
on that
to
one? Yeah,
defend
that'd
it.
be fun.
I'll be. I'm suggesting
That would
it
be a
better
heavy
on it.
debate on a tier list. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I have to defend Link's Awakening in this sense.
No, you
Please
don't.
do.
No.
Yes,
Please
I.
do.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
do.
great game.
I do.
It's a great
I really
game.
do. It really is a great game,
I think it's a solid
And it-
B.
and it pretty much is just like all the top-down games from before. It's very classic Zelda. I like the dungeons. It was I forgot which dungeon it was, but it's the one where you fight the face. And the face is like, dude, you do understand if you wake everything up, you know what's going to happen, right? Oh, spoiler cast. I'm sorry. Let me just say,
It's a spoiler.
you do understand we're not real, right? You know, that's what broke
do
my heart.
understand. You're tripping right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
This
are
is all a
so on
dream.
an acid trip, and that's what Mario is taking in Mario Wonder coming down in a few months. So the thing is that that's what makes Link's Awakening a little bit bittersweet and a little bit forgettable, is because it's not real.
Majora's
None of
Mask
it's
did it better.
real. I did what?
Majora's Mask did it better.
Majora's Mask did do it better
Well, that's not
because
saying much. It did a lot of things
Termina
better
is
than most
still
games.
out. But Termina is still out there and thriving and doing their thing, or no?
It's
So-
gone. It's gone. As soon as Link
Termina
returns.
is still there.
No, it's not. No,
Yes,
it's
it
not.
is.
Termina's
Yes, it
gone.
is.
Termina's gone. And
Well, here we go.
Termina only exists because it was created by the power of the Majora's Mask.
And yet, Termina existed in flashback scenes before the Skull Kid got Majora's Mask. So how does
There
that
you
work?
go.
No. We only like that part where he's like hanging out in the forest area outside of the swamp area. It's implied that like, oh, this is just, a different part of the Lost Woods that they didn't want to like recode or make up for just a cutscene. We're just gonna use this for like, we have this backdrop array. We might as well use it, right? And because remember, he carved the same thing that he carved at the end of the game in a stump within the Lost Woods, but he carved it into like that hollow trunk that was like in front of the thing. But it doesn't exist. It's gone.
What we're witnessing
know.
in real time,
Termina
Skeptical.
is real.
in real time, is when you get a
Miyamoto
bunch
even
of
said it was
Zelda
a
nerds
dream. I don't
together.
believe him.
This podcast could be a 72-hour long podcast because we could
Yeah,
just
Really good.
Yeah,
we could
could.
literally.
going.
That's what happens. You get a bunch of Zelda people together. So I love that about the Zelda fan base. You wonder why there's so many Zelda YouTubers and Zelda this and Zelda that. Because, dude, when you get people passionate together talking about Zelda, man, you can go all over the place. But the original topic was the future of Zelda. And here we're going to the past. So
Let's
where are
talk
we going
about
in the future?
Ganondorf.
Oh, it's because I
Are we
dunked
going
on
back
it.
to Termina? Is that
So
what
in
you're
Link's
gonna argue
Awakening,
today?
Everybody
Yeah,
on
you're
it
gonna-
started. Yeah, that's what happened. I
Okay,
remember
here,
now.
I'll get us started on the future.
A
of
Link to the
Zelda.
Past is the best one still out of the whole series.
Oh, here
Fine.
we go. You gotta stop with the tier. We're not
I
ranking right
think, keeping it on topic, I think the next game is going to be very indicative of what's going on with the timeline. Because we'll see if they double down on like the secret stones and the Zonai and like go in that direction, or if they go back to like, oh well, it's just the Triforce and the goddesses and then the goddess Hylia.
They'll probably
like,
argue the secret stones vanished.
Yeah, like it
was all a
that-
dream.
Even
This
though
is
I would
only
argue
see-
they're
we
not
only
even going
see
to talk about it.
Minoru's.
Exactly. I
Yeah,
agree
they're not
with
even going to talk
I
about it.
Minoru's
agree
goes
with Captain.
away.
They're not going to talk
They're
about it. Just
not
like
gonna.
like Zelda games are known for introducing concepts, items, and tribes to never talk about them again.
Yeah,
Like,
where's the Magmas?
Idea.
Where's Cass?
Oh my god, I want the
Because it's
Magmas
Wily!
back, man.
Because we're not going to see the next big new Zelda probably for another 5 to 7 years. There will be
2030.
something in between to kind of hold us over. There'll be maybe some DLC, but also maybe that thing we keep talking about. Maybe we do
Twilight
get an
Princess
Ocarina
Wind
of Time
Waker
remake,
HD on the Switch?
but one or the other, right? And maybe, say for example, if we get an Ocarina of Time remake, maybe they put in a little cameo. If you look very carefully off into the distance in the clouds, you might see a dragon.
Yeah.
Which
I'm
What
of
if-
mind. Like, here's the thing: the big Ocarina of Time remake that people want, I don't think will happen because I don't think they'll trust anyone to do it right outside of the Zelda team. And I'm just going to take the Zelda team's word at face value. What Aonuma said, we ain't looking
They don't want
backwards.
to go back. Yeah, they don't
Which
wanna
means
go
they
back.
ain't
Yeah.
interested. They ain't interested in using that main Zelda team to remake games. So it's going to be whatever they can get Grezzo or Tantal or someone else to do. And I just don't think.
Well,
I'm not saying
they're
Ocarina of
done
Time
with
can't come back in
remasters.
HD.
they're done with remasters. What are they going to do next?
There's
No,
still
how did they
Twilight
done with
Princess and
remasters?
Waker.
They can have Grezzo do more.
Did they
brought
say
a
they
bunch
were
of
done with
Link's Awakening. Why
remasters?
would they bring back more?
No, I just mean like
Get-
they've remastered all the 3D Zeldas already.
Get Mercury Steam to remake Zelda 2.
Yes,
Ooh.
it deserves it.
I
Thank
concur.
you.
It deserves it.
Thank
Ew,
you.
No.
What?
Listen to this, man.
That's
Ooh.
First of all,
2D
Zelda
Zelda?
2 is an
Yes.
underappreciated
The
game.
I love.
It
I
is
love.
actually-
It is
good.
my
I
second
love
favorite-
Adventure
it's my
Adventure
third
of
favorite
Link.
Zelda game of all time.
It is
Eventually.
actually a good game, and if you think it's a bad game, and I hate to say this because I
Get
hate
good.
whenever
You about to
people
say
say
get
it,
good.
Skill issue.
skill issue.
Yeah, skill issue. Skill issue. It
hate
is one
it.
of the
I hate
most
it. I hate to say it.
skilled games in the series. Like if you watch a legitimately good player play it and you suck at it, you're gonna be like, what the? Yeah, you can get good.
They were
It
cooking-
is
they
a
were cooking
highly
with it.
skill based game.
They were cooking with it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. There's some horse shit in it. I won't lie, but there is some stupid shit in pretty much every Zelda
Yeah,
game.
there's
Isn't there
always
implied
okay,
sex
thank
in
you.
it?
And
Sculptulas
and there's
and
there's-
Korok.
but there's like beneath
That's like a
that
Koroks.
there is
You went this
there is a
whole time without
genuinely
talking about the
fun
damn Koroks,
adventure
goddamn it.
that actually does a good job guiding you between dungeon to dungeon with its like hints, contextual
Yeah.
clues, item gating, and stuff like that. And it's got one of the richest, most challenging combat systems in any Zelda game. Even though
Full
it's like,
magic system.
and then there's that, you get some fun magic spells to do.
Mm.
Zelda 2 is a good game, but it's underappreciated and it needs the Metroid 2 treatment.
Yep. Mhm.
That's what it
Mm.
needs.
Also, the map is cool because
The map is
the
cool.
section of the there's like a small quadrant of the map that's just like the map of the original Legend of Zelda, which
Yeah.
also is also technically just the map of Hyrule in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which
Yeah.
Yes,
implies
thank
that
you.
the actual world of Zelda is like 4 to 6 times larger than what we
Yeah,
get to
it's like
play.
that whole landmass to the north across the canyon there. You go there in Zelda 2. You go there. It's just out of reach. I want to go back.
I'm
It's
okay
great.
with remasters, but on the same note, and maybe this is just the 80s baby and me talking. I feel like it's a time long gone. It's a time long past. Let's appreciate it for what it was. I'm glad it happened.
Hence,
I'm so glad. I'm
full
so glad it
remake.
happened.
Full from the ground remake.
Full remake.
I
a la
would-
Metroid.
I will buy it, but I don't need it. But I
No.
will buy it and
None
I
of us
will
need
play
it.
it.
but We'll buy
I need it.
Listen, if I want to
want
play
this one.
Ocarina
Yeah,
of
we'll buy it
Time,
regardless. We don't need any of it.
if I want to play Ocarina
free
of Time,
content,
I just go
baby.
grab my 3DS.
I just want
Not
them to go.
counterpoint.
Look, if
the
it's going to
3DS
be
version's bad, and I'll grab
if we're
my
not going to see a new
N64.
Zelda game for like 5, 6, 7 years,
No,
I want to
that's
see
a
them
lie.
just say, you know what? Zelda's now like Mario. It sells 20 to 30 mil. Spin-off time. It's time to go all out with spin-offs.
But give us
Oh yeah, Zelda
good
Kart.
spin-offs.
I was about to say
But
Zelda
I'm not even
Kart.
like saying Zelda Kart because they already put that in Mario Kart.
Zelda Kart,
Link's
no,
Crossbow
Zelda
Training
Derby.
I know,
You're gonna
and
ride
we're
race
thinking
on
old school.
horses
Like
and
why
dragons.
can't we get a Paper Zelda
Sand
spin-off?
seals.
Why can't we
Right.
get
we
like other?
we
There's so many other
Remember
ways
the retro
that you could use the
canceled
Zelda
Retro Studios
franchise.
Sheikah game, like stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Well,
would be cool.
Yeah,
there was that
like the
pitch,
Sheikah game pitch that had one. Yeah,
There was a second Retro Studios pitch that was like an RPG game that had like a party of characters. You had like a Goron, a Zora,
yeah.
a Rito, and that sounded dope. Like that sounded so freaking cool. It was like
Bro,
a
Retro's
tactics.
fucking-
Like I
RPG
think
game.
now's the time. Zelda's more popular than ever. Let's go with the spin-offs.
Yeah, retro studio. Also, they could ride the tactic fighter genre because that's like every game.
Easy.
That's like
Joycey,
every
no.
every big franchise has been coming. Like what is it? Persona has one now. Final Fantasy's always been kind of like that, but they've all been like, oh, freaking Mario and Rabbids, oh, tactical fighter or whatever. And I was just like, oh,
You know
okay.
what?
If Mario RPG can exist and be so beloved and such like a well-regarded game,
Mhm.
why don't we get a Zelda one? A Zelda RPG.
Because I won't play it.
That's what
Zelda
they're
2.
basing it on.
Zelda
Yeah.
2 was the Zelda RPG.
Well, yeah, but like
Like a modern day one, yeah.
a modern day one.
modern day one.
All right, guys. I actually have to be out, so I
That's all right.
actually read my
Show
time
ends in
limit.
9 minutes either way. So
Oh wait.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think
Yeah.
Joyce just decided to piece early. No, not
Yeah.
actually, but
We lost
Oh.
Joycey.
I don't know, but it's been super
Anyways.
fun. Thank you so much
Good
for having me.
spoilers.
Hey, dude, yeah.
spoilers.
Nice
I look
meeting
forward to your video
Uh,
tomorrow.
I'll
look forward to
I'll
your
come to
video,
you when
yeah.
the tier list episode's gonna happen because that's
Oh,
that's
let me
really
know.
gotta happen.
Let me
Soon
know
as it gotta
anytime,
happen.
guys. Anytime. All right, peace out, everyone. Take care.
Later, man.
Bye.
So now that
Oh, thank God! No,
motherfucker's
I'm just
gone.
kidding. I'm kidding. I love that man. I'm just gushing.
Oh man, so no, seriously, like the future of Zelda, right? Like I've been debating this a lot internally about what they could do because there was a whole huge part of me that thought, hey, let's have a third game. They're just gonna milk it because this is selling too well. And then the ending we got happened and it felt so definitive.
It does feel really definitive.
Like
Way more than
by the
Breath of
way,
the Wild
that
did.
doesn't mean something else can't happen. They can make up anything. Something else happened, and this Zelda and Link have more stuff to do. Absolutely, Nintendo can do what they want, and we already know that the director has ideas for the next game. Anyways, he already said, "Hey, I already have them. Like, I kind of sort of know where I'm going to go with this." So cool. So what is that next game? Like, where do they go from here? Because
I think they.
it's going to be open world. We know that, but besides, that's like the only thing we know.
I think they've
There'll be a
tried to
sword.
find.
There'll be a
Uh,
sword.
They try to perfect because like Breath of the Wild obviously had the dungeons and then they were improved in Tears of the Kingdom, and there was much more of like an active story in Tears of the Kingdom. So some of the things that people didn't like about Breath of the Wild, they improved upon in Tears of the Kingdom, but it wasn't quite perfect yet. I think they just keep moving in that direction of figuring out how to balance everything and finally move away from having memories be a key part of the story and actually have it all be in the present. I think they go that direction, but with a different Link and Zelda. I think we're done with this Link and Zelda because I played through that ending and that did feel very like we're done. There is no loose end. There's no, what
Yeah.
if this thing
Yeah, I agree with
happens?
that.
Like it's done.
Yeah.
It at least has to be an entirely new world. I love Tears of
yeah.
the Kingdom,
Ideally.
and maybe Tears of the Kingdom is my favorite game of all time. We'll see years down the road. I have to think about it, replay it a few times and stuff. But I do kind of feel that while they did do a lot to change around the world, I also feel that if this was an entirely, imagine if the sheer breadth of this world, if it was all totally new, it would have been even
breadth.
better.
I would like to see them go to a new land. Like, let's keep this. This feels like a definitive Hyrule to me.
Yeah.
So
I think
let's
it's like-
not come back to this Hyrule. Like, let's come back to this Hyrule someday down the line. But maybe when the Hyrule's been fully rebuilt up. We've never seen it fully built up. So let's wait 1,000 years or whatever it's going to be before we come back to a fully rebuilt one. And for a game or two, let's go somewhere new. There's other lands out there. There's other lands in Zelda history. Let's go somewhere new. Somewhere
Or they pull
entirely
the
new,
Zelda 2 move
and we just
keep
come
this
back
world of
here
Hyrule,
later.
and it's just one corner of
Yep.
the map.
Could. And if my theory is true that it's a full reboot, there's infinite possibilities. Hyrule's just one section of a larger world that we've never been to.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. That'd be nice.
No, the crazy part is if they do that, like, how do you make a game that's 4 times bigger than Tears of the Kingdom?
Well, you don't have to really, but or
Well,
you don't have depths. Or,
but you also don't have to necessarily make it 4 times bigger. Like, say you
depths
don't have the
get
depths,
plugged
and
up.
say you don't have Sky Islands, but instead you have, say, actual islands like Wind Waker style, but the islands are actually like half the size of a normal Hyrule, and you have like 5 of them or 6 of them. And people will be just happy with that. Like, I think trying to be like, oh, we have to top the size of Tears of the Kingdom. We have to top. Like, I don't know that you necessarily need to do that when it's all new.
Yeah, I do think we have to kind of hit a point where we either reach and like have a new incarnation of our characters to have sort of a reset on the story, or we take these characters completely somewhere else out of Hyrule, or like both, ideally. But I think this is like the time where we wait till we have a new console where the hardware can maybe achieve even better things than what they've been able to achieve on this admittedly
I agree with that.
old hardware. And it's to me, it's incredible what Nintendo's been able to put on Switch, and especially this year. Like, Pikmin again is a gorgeous game.
It's
How does it
beautiful.
look that
It's
good on
so
Switch?
good.
So it's like, I keep thinking, like, if they wait till that next piece of hardware comes out, like, how good, how gorgeous, what mechanics can they optimize and make work
I'll say this
on a
about
new
Pikmin.
console?
I'll say this about Pikmin. All the
That's
Pikmin games always look really impressive on every
do.
hardware they're on.
They
But
do.
a lot of the stuff that looks great is not interactable. Like, it's just there. You can't like even if you just look at the beginning of Pikmin, like, you're in the house and the house looks really gorgeous. Well, there's the pillow. Yeah, but when you hit the pillow, nothing happens. It doesn't press in or anything. It's not interactable. So like, they're just static objects that have just been real life scanned into the game. So like, that's actually a common trick Pikmin's been doing since the beginning.
Doesn't mean it doesn't look good.
No, it looks fantastic. But like, that's the trick. It's not. It's just presenting to you a high quality texture that was scanned from a real object.
For sure.
But
I mean, like,
it looks good for the kind of game Pikmin is. It works. Obviously,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, the Switch is. I mean, if you look at Primary Mastered, Pikmin, and Tears of the Kingdom, like, these 3 games are definitely like in the top 10 most impressive Switch games, maybe top 5. Like, it's just kind of a cool, like, I don't want to say it's the final year of Switch, right? But I think we are close to new hardware.
Probably the final 4.
We're close.
Yeah, right. So I mean, when the Switch 2 comes, Switch is still being supported for a couple of years, but I do think this is the last Zelda made for Switch. Like, I think that's probably obvious.
Yeah. Unless they had some top-down one they're dropping out of nowhere.
Something like that, yes. But in terms of like an open-air Zelda, that's going to be made exclusively for new, more powerful hardware.
Yeah.
And you like, and like, even if they had like PS4 level power, and I think it'll be a little bit better because of modern.
Just
techniques,
imagining what this team
insane.
could do with that kind of power.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Oh,
Imagine
we felt limited by that. What do you mean you felt limited? Wait,
bro.
What are you doing now?
Yeah.
Like
Horizon looks amazing, but imagine if the Zelda team worked with Horizon Engine on that kind of hardware. Like, we would be talking about a game that would just like
they might
blow
not
our
want to work
minds.
with that engine.
But you know what?
That
I know what you mean. I just mean in terms of
like the visual quality and stuff.
Yeah, the visual fidelity of it. Like, imagine a Zelda game that can be to that level, like from a technical perspective, but then have that level of interaction, those physics involved, and probably to another level, because they're not going to just rest on their laurels with Tears of the Kingdom. They're going to find even more ways to.
But maybe it won't ever look at that level because they are focusing on interactivity, and a lot of the other games that look to that level don't do that, and there's a reason they don't do it. Because to have that level of visuals takes away processing that you would need to have the interactivity and have it be smooth.
I'm not even talking about Forbidden West. Wow. I'm talking about the
No, I'm talking about in general. Like, I think about the interactivity of Zelda's world. There's like hardly any AAA games that are like that anywhere.
Counterpoint though, all they need, like, I think they could stick with this art direction. All they need is better hardware. And like, if you run Breath of the Wild on CMU, okay?
Oh, okay, yeah.
The game itself is unchanged, but you're running it on a more powerful piece of hardware.
Yeah.
the level of visual fidelity you can get, the particle effects in the air, the detail on the ground, all of these things, it is incredible.
Yeah.
And honestly, the Switch doesn't do the game justice. Because you have like
And you can
the
put ray
amount of
tracing on it too, and it's
the amount of
oh,
pop-in you
man.
get on Switch, like when you
Mm.
just like run somewhere and look at the ground. And I'm talking about my favorite games ever here, so like I'm not a hater, but I'm just saying, like, just run somewhere and look on the ground.
They're
and you're
doing
gonna see pop-in.
tricks.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's hard to unsee.
Yeah.
Once
all
you see
all
it,
you gotta do is
I
put those
try
things
not to
on
look
better
down for that
hardware.
line because once you see it, you can't unsee
You
it.
can't unsee it. Yeah.
I saw that a lot in the what is it, Gloom's Approach or whatever, or something like that. It looked at the
Mhm.
ground and it was like it was flickering
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Now it didn't happen every single time because I went down there like twice so far. I'm gonna play it again later. But but I saw that like both times I went down there, I was like, and it was in the same spot, and I was like, and then it creeped
Once
me out
you
because I was like,
see,
there's
you
gloom
can't
everywhere.
unsee.
Yeah. You know when you're in the depths and you activate one of the light
Light
balloon-
roots.
the
The
light roots.
light roots.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
confuse them with the seeds, but
Yeah.
the light roots. Like there's a whole bunch of like foliage, like a little bit of grass around.
Yeah.
You can see a whole bunch of new flowers and grass being added right in front of you to walk around it. Like they didn't even need to add that much, but they just wanted to. Like it's
It's
very
like you
clear.
can tell they want to do more than what Switch can handle.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
obvious if you pay enough attention. It's like, oh, they really want, like the Zelda team wants better hardware. Like that's sort of the thing. It's like, oh, and Miyamoto and Furukawa, oh, we don't need better hardware. And like I'm just sitting there, I played Tears of the Kingdom and it's amazing and I love it. But you can tell things that team is doing where they're begging for you to give them something more powerful to realize
Their ideas are so big and they're so good at optimizing it. But like I legit want to see what they could do with a more powerful piece of hardware.
I think
because I think they could do amazing things.
Like that's the team at Nintendo that can be like, hey, yeah, we need more. Nintendo.
I think the next Zelda is going to be
Pokemon. What?
even
Sorry.
bigger. Oh no, I just
even bigger. What are they going to go?
Even bigger.
How about
Do you mean, like, bigger?
a base map that just one level wise is twice as big as Hyrule?
I didn't mean literally. I just meant in terms of like hype. Like I think
hype.
Like I remember when we saw Zelda U for the first time.
Yeah.
Like that moment, seeing that. I'm waiting for that moment because we haven't had that moment in a while. We're gonna get that.
If I had done
maybe 3 years
Nintendo's
from
marketing, you would have had that moment for Tears of the Kingdom.
Sure, but even if we did, the hype for Tears of the Kingdom was real. You just look at the initial launch sales; it was massive, and you could argue bigger overall in terms of sheer number of people hyped than the original Breath of the Wild. But hardcore Zelda fans were super hyped for Breath of the Wild. And they maybe didn't get hyped in the same way, but they were going to buy. They buy Zelda no matter what. And now that there was more players, there was a much larger player base hype for Tears of the Kingdom, but it might not have been as high of hype on an individual level. But I will say this: these were probably two of the most hyped Zelda launches of all time. At least in modern history. Ocarina of Time was pretty high back in the day, but the fan base was disjointed because the internet wasn't big enough yet to connect us all together. So these were like the two most hyped ever, the two best selling ever. When that next one comes on new hardware, unless they do something to it, which I can't put it past the Zelda team to do something where they release some strange visual style that everyone's like, wait, what the fuck is that? Because they've done it in the past. And it turns out like with Wind Waker, it was a really great decision and I love it. But also at the time, all Zelda fans were like, what the fuck are you doing with the Zelda?
Excluding Wind Waker, has there ever been an art style that fans were like majority against?
Not that I can think of.
No,
that was the big one. Zelda 2's drastic difference was another one that Zelda fans were against.
Yeah,
but like,
I was
like
say that's a
so there is a way that they could present a new game that could make like we're hyped for it, and then we're like, oh, that's not what we thought. But I think they're smart enough with what they did with these two games. They clearly showed it with Tears of the Kingdom. Like, hey, we're not going to do that again. We're not stupid. We're not going to ruin the popularity of Zelda by going in such a drastically obtuse thing from what people love now that we're going to push them off. And I think you are right that when this one hits, it's going to be the first brand new Zelda game in another 5-6 years. It's going to be on brand new, powerful hardware after we just saw what they could do, 5-6 years ago on old hardware. And I think when they show it and it's crisp and it looks amazing, and even if it's just a teaser like they did for Breath of the Wild, right? Like the initial the initial teaser
That
for
teaser will blow us away.
Yeah, it is going to be trending. If I don't know if X is still going to be around, it's going to be trending on whatever social media platforms are popular at the time for literally until the thing comes out.
For the next 3 to 4 years.
Because what they have done now, and look, Zelda games been coming out my whole life. Breath of the Wild was an event. Tears of the Kingdom was an event. This next one's going to be an even bigger event than those two.
Let's put this in perspective for a moment, because yes, each game has taken a long time, right? Like Skyward Sword came out in 2011.
That's correct.
We didn't get Breath of the Wild until early 2017, and then we had to wait until early 2023, right? Like that's the gap is huge between those games. But Wii U came out in 2012, and Switch and Wii U are fairly close. There are some bottlenecks Wii U had, but in terms of power, they're comparable. They've basically been making a Zelda game for hardware from 2012 in terms of like capability. Like obviously, I'm taking some liberties here, but you understand my point. When we do get that next Zelda, like there is going to be a substantial leap. It's going to be a generational leap. Like it's going to be significant, and it's. I can't wait
to be told it looks like a PS3 game.
Oh my god! By people who never played a PS3 game.
Yeah. By the way, there's some PS3 games that look really good. Absolutely, still to this day. But also, like, come on.
I wanted to say something real quick. I think with the first Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, Zelda 1 and Link's Adventures. Wait, what was it, Nate? Link's Adventure? Something like that. The first two Zeldas. Y'all, I'm old. I'm tired.
The Adventure of Link.
Zelda and Adventure of
The
Link.
Adventure of Link. Thank you. The Adventure of Link. It's like, why not remember
I was like,
that?
why are you referencing me? All right, because it's Zelda 2. Got it.
Yeah, because I know it's one of your favorites. But the thing about it is, I kind of feel like at the time that was the Zelda team saying you can go with this or you can go with that. And it's like, okay, you want to go with this. And that's why we got a Link to the Past, which is my favorite game. And I will fight you if you say that it's terrible.
Good.
Or bad, or say anything negative about it. So, but seriously, I think, and that's kind of what kind of set up our quote unquote classic games. And Breath of the Wild is really what Miyamoto wanted if the technology had been attainable at the time for Zelda 1. That's really what he wanted. He wanted this huge world where all you do is explore and there's monsters and there's things to do and things like that. Tears of the Kingdom is what we wanted, which is nothing but game and depth and decent story and things to do. And I mean, like I said, I clocked it at 530 hours and I was not trying to blow through the game at all. And that's not even all the Koroks. So saying all that, when we could talk about new hardware and all that other stuff, I kind of have a little bit more faith in the business side of Nintendo than the creative side, because the creative side is kind of, in a way, is said to me, we can do what we have to do on whatever hardware we have. We're going to make it amazing. We're going to make it fun. The fans are going to go nuts. It's going to sell. I think on the business side, they're like, yeah, but everybody's screaming that they want, more power, which then just makes the creative team say, okay, then we're going to put in more stuff. Guys, I am not a tech person whatsoever. I can barely work my work computer. So I hope you can kind of fill in the blanks with whatever gigabytes and terabytes and flopifites and phosphites and whatever bullshit you can put in there. So what I'm saying is I think from the business side, they may do bigger hardware, but I don't think that that's necessarily what their goal is. It might just be kind of like, I feel like the fans made Tears of the Kingdom. I kind of feel like the fans are going to be the ones that say, okay, you guys want more power? Fine. Bam. Here's your $500 system. You're going to buy it? Of course we are. But yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a little bit of old brain talking.
I'm not. Right. So right. No, I think like Nintendo does things the way they do it, right?
Nintendo.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's the most accurate sentence I've ever heard. Is Nintendo does things the way they do it.
Exactly.
You can put that in so many contexts, and it works.
Nintendo will always Nintendo.
My point is that given that it's kind of like it's sort of interesting. Like, so the GameCube to Wii was like a kind of like a minor leap, then to Wii U was a significant leap, and then Wii U to Switch is kind of like a minor leap. If there's a pattern, we're going to get more of a major leap this time. But also, mobile technology has been improving, and this next system is gonna be a pretty big jump. Now, big jump. It could be like PS4 range, which is already kind of an old system. But when Nintendo has that kind of power, they just tend to do more with it. Like there's a lot. They get a lot more bang for your buck, because of what they can do. So.
Oh yeah,
I'm not
Look
saying
at the file
I need.
sizes of AAA games compared to
It's crazy.
like you got these games that are like I can't even quantify how big, like 50 gig games that are on like PS4.
Think
Call
about
of Duty
Smash.
150
And-
gigs.
Think about
and then-
Smash Ultimate.
Yeah.
Think about how high quality the textures are, how much music is in the game, how much characters are in the game, how much
Yeah.
files are in the game. That game is huge, but it fits on a cartridge.
Yeah,
And I remember there was an interview with Sakurai a little ways back, and he just made mention that Nintendo has incredible technology when it comes to fitting things down.
Mhm.
They know how to do it.
They do.
Yeah.
Here's the thing too, is that like people are bringing up in the chat, for example, like PS4 Pro levels of hardware and stuff, and I'm thinking like even companies like Microsoft and Sony aren't even taking advantage of the hardware that they have on the markets right now, which is why most games that are being released for PS5 are also being released still on PS4, because I think that just game design is not the level of hardware that's coming out these days is just above what is reasonable to make a video game to the standard of. Do you know what I mean? Like there are exceptions. There are still games that are like PS5 exclusive that are not on PS4, but most PS5 games you can play just fine on this like 10-year-old hardware, because just like game design that is just like not out of place.
Well, I love how
Right.
like they're bringing Rift apart to to PC, and they're just like, yeah, you don't need an SSD anymore to play this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made a big deal about how this game's impossible without an
Right.
SSD. And it's like, no, it's better with one, but it wasn't impossible yet. That was just a fib to sell hardware.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I don't know, just like thinking again, what Nintendo can do with this hardware they're working with now, even just giving them PS4 level of hardware.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's old hardware, I know, but like also
Most
they could
powerful
do
Nintendo's
incredible
ever worked with.
things. Like, yeah, they can also do incredible things with it. That would make more probably visually stunning and more fun to
And this
play
is why
games.
people want Nintendo to go third party. I'm just pointing out what you're saying right now,
If the
because they
Nintendo
want
went third
Nintendo's
party,
talents to have unlimited hardware
Sure.
access. Right?
Sure. I mean, I'm not saying I want that, but
but there
No.
there is something to the idea of having limitation. Limitation does force you to be creative and think of ways to make it work with.
I think it also
limitations.
Nintendo's
Sure.
development teams are so good because they've always had to work within limitations
Correct.
rather than having unlimited power all the time. Because I think that's led to a lot of the industry problems that exist where games aren't optimized as much. And I know there's a lot of budgets and stuff that go into that too, but
Also,
having
when you
worked
go
within limitations,
multi-platform,
I think spurns some creativity. Like would Tears of the Kingdom be as inventive if they didn't have to work within limitations? I don't know. And then that goes, well, then with the next no, not as a Harmon, because maybe they want to go beyond. I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. The future is wild, and Nintendo is in a good position. Please don't mess it up. Now,
Did we talk about DLC? I'm sorry.
we briefly got to it, but we actually have to wrap the show up before. I
I'm
get in trouble.
sorry. You know, I'll
Before
talk
I
all
get in
night.
trouble. I'm the one that's going to get in trouble I could keep going. This is
DLC,
this
yes
is
or no?
Zelda. I could be talking till 5
Yes or
a.m.
no?
No.
yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait. Well, how many
Okay.
votes do we have?
Oh wait, I'm back in. I'm on the fence.
Will
actually.
there be
Yeah,
DLC?
wait.
That's the question. So
Will
like,
there
Will
be
there be
DLC?
DLC?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm on the fence.
Yeah, I think it's too much of a cash cow for them not to.
so we had four yeses and 2 nos. So you know what? There's one more no than I expected.
Nick, you said yes. I thought you were saying no.
I said no.
He said no.
Oh, okay. But then you have
thought
I
we
said
knew
I'm
that.
on the fence.
Am I the
I'm
only one who
undecided.
said no?
I said
Oh,
no.
Nate said
No.
Oh,
Nate
okay.
said no.
Okay.
I've been
It's these
no.
end names.
I've been saying
And-
no.
and-
For
well,
weeks.
HMK also said yes earlier, so
Well, he's
That's
not
true.
here.
yeah.
So,
He
he
forfeited
forfeited
his
his
still
vote
count.
by
He
leaving.
also said Link should be with Midna. So
He also said Link's Awakening was a bad game. So
I
Well,
mean,
okay, I'll
he
give him
didn't
that.
agree with me,
I mean, I
though.
love the guy,
He
but
was,
also
he was
like,
spoiling a manga. He wasn't trying to say
Hey.
it. He was just saying what happens in the manga,
Hey, listen,
which has
everyone's
been
vote
actually said
counts.
by Nintendo to be non-canon, anyways. But
Everyone's vote counts for one.
unfortunately,
this is true.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence because I can make an argument for why we should get DLC and why we couldn't, and Nate knows that argument.
I
Throw
will
it in there
say,
somewhere.
on just research, just try to say, oh, everyone's vote counts for one. I think my channel's name is on the name of this podcast.
Oh God, Nate.
I might count for two.
That's the card for
There's
Fulham.
so then we're
He's
no.
just gonna
Anyways,
pack
it'd
the
still be 4-3
podcast.
either way.
I
We'd
agree
be
with
down.
them.
How do we kick
Um,
Nate from the chat?
That's all
I
right.
think-
Channel
That's all right.
takeover.
I think we don't leave.
We start our own
being said,
podcast.
obviously, I know. And by the way, I know a majority of people are really excited for potential DLC. It's just until it's announced, doesn't exist in my mind.
And
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
typically
Total
DLC would be
speculation.
announced already, so you could argue that that's the point against DLC.
But then some
totally-
DLC happens later.
Totally copium.
If we get to the end of the year and haven't heard anything about DLC, I'll say it's not happening.
I
Like,
don't agree with
I
that.
agree with that. I agree.
Because
with
On
that.
the
if you
flip
get
side,
past,
I will. I
on the
have
flip
said
side-
that if they do DLC, I think the best way for them to do it is to use it to transition to the next hardware.
Yes, so that's
How
why I
many
wanted
So
to
that's
years
why I'm
announce
kind of like
this
there
year.
could be DLC. I don't think there will be
You
DLC.
can only play this DLC
How
on
many
the
years
Nintendo Switch Pro.
after Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's release
Right.
Oh,
did they
that's
announce
a totally
DLC
different
for it?
thing.
I'll
it-
tell you what. I'll tell you what.
We're just
That
saying
is-
Tears of the
Nintendo
Kingdom
doesn't do
sells
things
16 million
typically.
units in the next couple of years. They will release DLC like 3-4 years later. To transition to the next Zelda game.
Maybe.
I think if you get past the September
playing
Direct
devil's advocate
and the
with that
Game
point,
Awards
sorry.
in December, and there's still nothing, then it's definitely not happening.
That I agree with. Now that I do agree.
Look,
those are
Switch
two
2
really
comes
big
out and it's still
opportunities.
not been announced. You know, it still might happen. Don't worry. I'm just all right.
Um,
all right. We can keep going forever. This is a
could.
never-ending conversation.
One thing.
Oh, no. Okay,
One
fine.
more
You-
thing.
You get final word, Andres.
Okay,
Final
so
Oh wait, one more
All right.
thing.
Oh,
Alright,
also after that,
so-
one more thing.
all right, so
Andres, go
so this is the third to last thing. Oracle of Ages and Seasons.
That's what I was
was
about to
announced,
say.
right?
Yep.
Is that the Zelda thing that's not related to Tears of the Kingdom that Jeffrey was alluding to? I don't think so, because those
Didn't
were
we already
announced
know
a
this
while
was
ago.
coming?
They were
It was
announced,
already
but
announced.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
it
was
was not
already
an
announced. I don't think that was it. We knew
Yeah.
these were coming.
I agree.
But is it possible we're getting a remake, and that's the thing that Jeff is talking about?
Well, that he again.
He doesn't know.
And we'll know on the
Would
on the
they-
next last of Nintendogs. He'll probably make some offhanded comment. And no, it wasn't Oracle Agencies. He'll
Would
just make some
they
offhanded comment
drop
on
the
it.
game on NSO to begin with if the remake was coming? Because like
They did that
Yeah,
with Link's
those
Awakening,
games.
didn't they?
after Link's Awakening came to NSO after
Oh, it was after.
long.
Yeah, because I don't
after the
think
remake.
adding Oracle Season, Oracle of Ages, suddenly we have millions of people signing up to subscribe. I don't think
Yeah.
it's moving the needle at all.
I
it's
get
not-
it. I just
But you
think
don't
they
you
would
don't want people
wait.
to not buy the remake because they're like, well, I can just play the original. It's already on here.
People, yeah, the people who play the original, I love the original, would absolutely buy the remake. I don't think that's a deterrent.
I know that, and you know that, but do they know that?
Nintendo knows. Nintendo knows. They're not done. But I mean, here's the thing. It's probably topping out 3-4 million in sales, anyways. Let's just get to the wrap up here. Otherwise, we'll be at this for another 10-15 minutes.
Touche.
So Flam, where can people find you? I mean, everything's linked below. You want to tell people who you are and where they can find you?
No, so you can find me primarily on twitch.tv/FVLAM. Tomorrow we'll be live with Pikmin 4. And then Friday I do a stream with my own podcast crew where we do we're starting to do gaming segments, and then I have a podcast called the Boost View Podcast. So if you follow anything that's mine today, please follow that
I
podcast.
saw
It
your
is my
schedule
passion
somewhere.
project right now.
Saw that.
Yeah,
Was it
I'm-
on X? God, I keep calling it X right now.
Oh yeah, I
Twitter.com?
always my schedule. Yeah, I put it out on I'm still calling it Twitter. I put it on there on Discord, all
Look,
that. But yeah, if you follow
X.com,
anything
Distributor
from
X.
me, someone literally I forgot to turn that off.
Hey,
the alert just went off.
someone just joined the channel, baby. Let's go. Kat
forgot to
Ferguson,
turn-
what do you got going on? Who are you? Where can they find you?
Oh my gosh. I'm Daniel. I'm Kat Bergerson. You can go check out my channel if you want to see somebody talk about a single dungeon in a Zelda game for 30 minutes straight, 50 times, because that's the
amazing.
kind of videos I make.
It's
So,
amazing.
And they're all good.
Yeah.
Wait for
I
his
wanna see
next
you do
Tears
that.
of the Kingdom theory video. Gonna be a banger.
I do
You
also
did a
make
Link to
Zelda
the Past.
videos.
Mhm.
You're
I'm
my
still-
best friend.
I'm still working through the Link to the Past dungeons for those videos,
Yeah.
but they're coming along nicely. A new one comes out next Friday, actually, which is August 4th. I also stream every Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesdays are always Zelda days. We stream.
Twitch
So
or
right now,
YouTube?
obviously, we're streaming Tears of the Kingdom, obviously, but Saturdays are just like whatever whatever else I feel like playing. So lately, also that's Pikmin. But it'll be other things when I finish that game. So
Eventually.
Do you,
that's
do you
me.
stream on Twitch or YouTube?
On YouTube, because Twitch is
makes sense.
sometimes occasionally stinky.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
I started
YouTube
on
is
on Twitch, so that's why I'm
YouTube
still
also
there.
Yeah.
All
anyways.
right. Nick with no K. Who are you? Where can they find you, Mr. Nerdiest Podcast?
I'm Nick. You can follow me on Twitter at nerdiestnick. I tweet stuff all the time, just about random stuff.
Yes,
You can also follow my podcast, the Nerdiest Podcast. We talk about movies and TV shows, and sometimes
I
video games.
subscribed.
I saw that. Thank you.
I know. I was like, why am I not subscribed? I was just watching an episode the other day.
We also two big things coming up. One is next week. So next weekend, I'm going to meet my co-host in person, and we are recording our 100th episode,
Epic.
which comes out the following
Nice.
Monday.
Oh, hype.
And
That's crazy.
for like a little teaser, because it's not officially announced yet, but a little teaser for everyone who's here. We are doing our own Nerdiest Podcast Direct on Monday, and we have all kinds of cool
Those are
stuff
so
to
fun.
announce.
That's so fun.
You also might have gotten a little peek at my hat. So
Mhm.
we got a
I
lot
like
of cool
that.
stuff
I like
coming
that.
out. And that's one of them. So on Monday,
That's
I think
super
it's
exciting.
12:15 p.m. Central Time. We're dropping our second Nerdiest Podcast Direct, which I'm really looking forward to. So
That's gonna be sweet. As I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, you're doing it in person. I start to think of how many weeks ahead till my 100th on season 2 and flying everyone out.
that's a little more complicated. It's just the two of us.
So I'm just sitting there like,
Well, Nate, you always have Eric at least in person.
yeah, that'll be the 1 week he can't come for some reason.
Of course.
Mhm.
Of course.
All right, Andres Restart. Who are you? What do you got going on? Where can we find you?
I
He's
am
in
Andres
space.
Restart. You can find me in space. That's where I usually am mentally. Yeah, so I make Nintendo videos, including Zelda Theories and speculation about just Nintendo in general. Today I put out a little Metroid video, kind of debating if there's going to be a physical version of the rumored Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. I don't think it's a given because Metroid Prime 2 sold less than Metroid Prime 1, but we'll see. Check it out. And tomorrow there may be a Zelda Theory video, so look out for that.
Nice.
I love the Zelda Theories.
Mm-hmm.
And Joyce J, look, you're a moderator. You're a super fan. Where can they find you?
At DJ Joycey on Twitter. I'm just an old lady who loves video games. Zelda's my favorite series of all time, really. But I do like my other ones. I do love Mario. I do love Bayonetta a lot. Octopath is what I've been playing, or what I'm going to be getting back into, and I'm always down for a good Splatoon match.
Joycey streams when? We want to see that. We want to hang out, have margaritas.
Oh no, no!
Come on.
There we go.
The
We're having
people
margarita
that chat
Saturdays
was
now,
asking
every
for it.
Saturday.
You got to give the people what they want.
Oh no, I'm coming to Nate's house, to Nate's stream, and I'm just going to crash from now on.
Yes.
Look, we
Because
have room. We
Because
have
I've been
room.
following him for so long that he was like, okay, God, you call me and talk to me about Zelda like on Discord every single week.
It's
so
like every week.
it really is. And it's gotten crazy. So just come on our spoiler cast. And so now I just know that I can just crash and we can always have margaritas. Margaritas are great.
Nate,
I'm gonna
just give her
sleep
the stream
so
key
good.
and let her go nuts.
There
just
you
give
go.
her the stream key.
Yeah, you need to access my channel. Just need the key. Look, tell me when you want to go. I'll set it up. You just stream. Have fun.
Yeah.
And then
I'll be the
if we
guest
make
for
any,
you. I will guest call in.
and if we make any profits, you get to keep them. Because I
Yeah.
don't care.
But you can drink for me. I like that.
There you
I like
go. There you
that. I
go.
get
a
a night
podcast
off
I
of
like
drinking,
every
but I
day.
still make the money. And see, I like this.
There you go.
This sounds like a pretty
Nice.
cozy arrangement for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works out great for you.
That works out great.
Unless we start hitting Mr. Beast numbers, then I want half. But until then,
Well,
I got a
look,
job.
dude, we
It's
start
okay.
hitting those kind of numbers. You
There's a
only worry
whole
about
lot of-
Nintendo. I might be worth more than them then. Like, you just, there you go. We'll make that Zelda movie. We'll just rename the locations and characters. It's fine.
Right.
they do have alternative names for a reason, but there's a canonical reason.
For
There's a
legal
reason.
reasons or script.
No, really, it's an actual reason. Like in the story, like there's a reason they're named a certain thing, and then there's a reason why they're Link and Zelda as well.
That's
Well,
sick.
there we go. See, this
I
is
like to write. I'm a nerd.
happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am Nathaniel Robojance, otherwise known as Nintendo Prime. You can catch the Nintendo Prime podcast everywhere podcasts are heard. You can support the podcast directly through patreon.com/Nintendo Prime. Otherwise, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. We'll be back next week. We got Sumbro Nation coming back. Lots of hype. One of the OG six-pack coming back. And I don't know who else. Maybe Eric. Well, Eric will be back.
What's the topic next week? Do we even know?
I don't know.
More Zelda stuff?
There
We'll
is
see if it's in there.
there is one thing I have an idea for a topic for it yet, but I haven't decided yet. So
I mean, when they announce Switch 2 next week, that'll be the topic.
that's the thing. 'Cause
No.
we do talk a lot about
Oh my
news.
God,
but,
if they
I
do
have
that,
topics,
I'm
but
gonna
yeah.
lose. Okay, if they do, if
I'm
the
joking.
very off chance they do, I'm gonna be in Seattle. But if they do, I will get my laptop out, or I'll be on my goddamn phone. And I will be
yeah.
on the
Hey,
podcast.
phone can
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
Didn't Nate
I would-
say something like if they announce Switch 2 this year, then I get like a whole dedicated video because I've been on the
Something like that.
2023 train? I don't know. I remember hearing that somewhere.
Yes.
Just
I
throw
don't
it
I
out.
think that's a
Comes
great
out
idea.
2023. I think it gets announced
Yes.
this year.
Yeah, that
I think
is
they
absolutely
announced
true,
for
Nick. I
next
did tell
year.
you.
I
Hey,
think
Nate.
September direct. We get it. 100%.
Hey Nate, if they announce Switch 2 on some ridiculous time frame like next week, I think we should go back to our to your tattoo idea, and we should both meet up in Wisconsin and go get tattoos. I'm gonna get I'm gonna get a link to
The
Yeah.
funny thing is, I didn't clear this idea with Yulia, but she has
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
me to get a. She
And you
has
have-
wanted me to get a tattoo. I just don't know that the name of the system is the
You-
tattoo she wants.
You just have to
you have to
put-
get a name, whatever the name is, whatever its system's name.
Oh
is.
You
my
just have to
god.
put it in a cute place where everybody can't see it. You just take a picture of it in a cute place. I have plenty of tattoos and nobody knows that.
I'll have to.
Tattoo.
I'll clear it with Yulia. She'll be like, she'll just tell me yes, but then I need to get the tattoo she wants me to get on top.
But you have to remember the Switch 2 is not, or Pro or NX64, Super NES,
Yeah.
whatever the frick it is.
Watch,
It's not
it
being
is.
announced.
Watch,
not gonna
watch
be
it be a
announced next
super
week.
long name, and I can do a band around the arm.
Yeah,
so
or
long.
it's like
But it's not going to be next
Miyamoto
week. It's going to be at a
machine or
reasonable
something.
time. It's going to be at a
Well,
reasonable time.
Next week might be reasonable.
If
That's
it's
not
next week,
reasonable.
I'll shave my head.
If it's next
If it's
week-
next week, I will shave my head.
Yeah,
Is
I-
your
I-
wife okay
I'll
with
find
that?
my stash.
She's probably
joking,
not.
guys.
So,
I don't think it's
August,
getting
the
announced
first
next
week of August, like right on the 2nd. Here we go.
Oh my god.
I will say it has been a slow news week the last couple weeks, so yeah.
We're
yeah, 'cause
building
Pikmin
up
4
that
just came
August
out on
time
Friday.
frame.
Well, to
We're
be fair, they
building
did just
up.
drop Oracle stuff today, so like,
That's true.
you know,
Well, we
They're-
think
they're-
that's a
they're
big deal, but
padding it
like
out.
for
They're
all of
padding it out.
Nintendo, that's like nothing. That's
yeah,
just-
you know,
they
you're right, you're
release
right.
games every month.
I
It's just what they're
really-
dropping.
I
Every
still
week
think
or two.
it's sometime September. Hikey. Yeah,
I mean, we don't have a
September
game for August
2024.
or September.
That's
Look,
what I'm
we were told a direct's happening in September because, of course, there is. But see, the Nintendo Live and the Gamescom
guys.
happens right away in September. Like it's literally like the first. So I'm like, you know, if there's something they have to announce the show there beforehand, it has to be
probably what
August.
it's gonna be.
It's got to be in August. If they're gonna have hardware, it's got to be announced in August.
August or
Oh
bust.
yeah, hardware and
It's August or
and then
bust.
August
When
or bust,
Gamescom?
baby.
When's Gamescom?
August or bust for 20. Gamescom is. Let's see here. Gamescom date.
It's like Labor Day weekend, right?
It is the end of August.
Oh,
So
it's-
August
it's-
23rd to the 27th, and that leads right
week
into
before.
PAX West. And
That's the
Yeah.
deadline.
Oh my
That-
god!
that's
And
the
they have
deadline.
Nintendo Live this year. What if they announce
Yeah,
a
it's
system
got- so
and
we
then
got 3
show
weeks.
it off at
we got
Nintendo
3 weeks,
Live?
guys. 3 weeks to announce.
If it doesn't happen, then it's not. Yeah, it's not.
Then
gonna
it's not
happen.
this year.
I believe nothing.
I'll accept defeat after that point.
Yeah, if it's not out, if there's not an announcement by September, I'm done.
Of course,
Like,
the moment I say I accept defeat, they'll announce it right after that.
yeah,
a week
all
after.
that fun
It'll
stuff
be
will have
Jeff Grubb.
happened. They're like,
Oh,
oh yeah, here's
I want to punish myself because I was wrong a month and a half later. Actually,
By the way,
you pretty much were right. You're
It's
just
the Jeff Grubb.
Yeah.
effect.
off.
Yeah,
We
but
wanted
he
the
did-
shadow
he-
drop.
He
We
was
didn't want to
committed
announce it.
to the holidays, so.
Well, I don't think he
Dude,
thought it was going to
imagine
be
a
shadow,
shadow
drop
drop.
either. Like nobody
When's the
thought
last-
that was being shadow.
No,
Has
that was a big
Is a
surprise.
console been shadow? When's the last time a console been shadow dropped?
A console.
The
Mm-mm.
Sega
Has ever?
Saturn?
Has there ever been one ever?
I think it was a Sega
One of the
Saturn.
Sega systems, I think, was
Yeah.
Okay,
one
that'd
of
be.
their
Oh
failed
yeah,
ones. They had like 3 failed in a
Yeah.
row. One of them was shadow dropped.
imagine them
was
shadow
announced and
dropping
released, like,
Switch
same day.
2.
They had a lot of peripheral or add-on stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll have to do this again sometime. It's been a lot of fun.
Yippee.
It
Catch you guys
has.
later.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
And